Dummy half and gives it off to Webke. Driving on as only he can do. Motor he has in those legs. Just keeps taking tacklers with him. Tallis now. Man of the match in some people's eyes. At Lang Park last Sunday night. Myers now. Quickly getting away from marker there was Brett Finch with the help there of Rutchison, who got across and made the tackle. Prittis circling back to the open side. 10 metres on his own side of halfway. Prince waits at dummy half. Give it off to Lockyer, who'll put that left boot to it. Schafowski, position nicely, takes it just outside his own 10. Solid starting set of 6 for the Brisbane Broncos. How they start this game could well set the tone for them. Of course, these two sides last year, enthralling battle down here at Bruce Stadium. The Raiders went out winners by 2 points, 16-14. They would love to repeat the dose today. Here they go, down the left-hand side with Jason Croker running into space before he's flung over the touchline by Myers.
A great start there by the Canberra Raiders, going down the right-hand side of the Broncos' defensive line. You notice the Broncos, they don't all come up with a line. They come up on the in the middle of the park, but their edge defenders stay behind. I'm sure you'll be seeing a lot of second-man play, trying to get in behind that staggered Broncos line.
Walker comes away to Wendell Saylor. To Beard, who's tackled just outside his own 30. Saylor up against Colo this afternoon. He'll be there waiting for his chance as Sivanasiva play, or in fact Takiri plays it. Here is Webke now, back up towards the halfway line. A couple of minutes gone. No score here at Bruce Stadium. Prince goes through the hands of Lockyer. Away to the excitement machine, Chris Walker. A real flyer he is. Scored a try in that victory by Queensland on Sunday night. Myers now inside the Raiders 30. Prittis will feed it to Lockyer. He'll go high to the air with that spiral bomb, which has caused so many fullbacks so many problems this year. A great take by Schafowski. Not only had to battle the spiral bomb, but also the crossbar. A quick restart as Wiki comes motoring forward for the Raiders.
Yeah, fantastic kick by Lockyer, but take your hat off, Clinton Schafowski. Marvellous take under pressure. There's nothing worse. You don't know where the goalpost is. All you do is focusing on the football, and you can lose it, especially that spiral torpedo punt that Lockyer put up there. It floats as it comes almost to your hands.
Well, they're prepared to play a quick game of football today, the Raiders. Everything they're doing at pace. I suppose with so many players backing up the State of Origin, the Raiders see this as a quick game, maybe an opportunity to try the Brisbane side out.
Comes through the hands of Colella, away to Croker, playing on that left-hand side. Flips the ball back way to Jamal Lalesi, and he's just over 10 metres away from the Broncos line. Through Wolford, it comes to DeVico. Just 8 metres out, and they start with a try here. Finch showing it, getting through, slipping a pass to Croker, who couldn't hang on to it. It bounced away to Prittis. They've hung on the Broncos.
Hey, Wendell, leave it. Hey, listen. You got the penalty. I've called it, and then he's raked it out.
Well, penalty for the Broncos. Got them out of a bit of trouble. The Raiders were pressing the line there, and only the drop ball by Croker saving the day for Brisbane. Here's Sivanasiva now, pushing through tacklers. Gets it up towards the halfway line. Prittis will give it away to Walker. To Lockyer, standing inside De Vere. Gives the pass away to the New South Wales centre, who's tackled around the legs by Finch. Tallis steps off that right foot. Inside a couple of tacklers again, so dangerous. Nagus it was who wrapped him up around the legs. Through Prince to Walker now. Saylor outside him, he takes the tackle. 10 metres out from the Canberra line. Still a couple of tackles left in this set as Prince turns it back on the inside for Brad Myers. This is the last tackle now. Harrison looking for the first receiver. Prince a long way wide of the ruck, and it comes back to him now. Kicks it high to the air, but a poor kick over the dead ball line on the fall. A real anticlimax to that set of 6.
Well, it was an anticlimax to that set of 6. The Raiders missed some easy one-on-one defence. If they're going to miss one-on-one tackles like that, then the Broncos will have a field day out here this afternoon.
Martin playing it. Comes back the way of Ruben Wiki. 4 strong runs already. One from the tap restart. Another one there up towards halfway. Wolford gives it back to Finch. Comes back to Rutchison, who's inside the Brisbane 40. Some good metres here for the Raiders. DeVico. Tackled by Tallis. Had that right arm cocked, looking to get a ball free. Wolford gives it off to Finch. Turns it back on the inside for Shafovsky. Puts a boot to it eventually, and it bounces down for Lottie Takiri. Will be tackled just inside his own 10-metre line. Some good stuff though from the Raiders with the ball.
Yeah, well, they're trying to use the ball. Obviously they're trying to play an up-tempo type of game, trying to tire this Brisbane team out. Brisbane, on the other hand, when they got the football, you just know what's coming. They're a no-frills type of side. They just wrap the ball the same way. They're trying to look for their big blokes to get quick play of the balls and rely on a good kicking game by Darren Lockyer.
Yeah, I've got to say, you're right, Laura. I don't know about the no-frills, though. They certainly are a percentage-type team. They can really use the football when they want it, though, and I'm sure we'll see that today.
Saylor pushing away from DeVico. Good tackle down low. It was made by Simon Wolford, of course, who's been carrying a shoulder injury for most of the season now. Shafovsky, once again, positioned nicely. Done pretty well in these opening exchanges, the Raiders. Good metres with the ball, and their defence, for the most part, has been pretty solid across the line.
Well, they've defended well. Also, when they've got the ball, they're looking for their big wingers to get involved. They're really trying to match this Brisbane side in the go forward. They've started with a big pack of forwards. They're trying to get Odell Manuel involved, and Vayner-Colo's got to get off his wing and do a lot more.
Finch puts it back for Rutchison. Up by Scott Prince. Play it back to Croker. From Wolford to Shafovsky. Looking around the ruck, looking for a forward to make a half break and be there to capitalise on it. Now Wolford from dummy half. Kicking will probably be too big. It rolls, touch in goal. The kicking games from both teams haven't been too flash so far. Darren Lockyer put up one spectacular bomb, which was well taken by Shafovsky. The kicking in general play to this point in the game hasn't been the strongest suit of it.
Well, I think you're right, Warren. One of the simple things, there's been no chasing. There's been no pressure from the chasing team on any of the kicks so far.
Here's Saylor now, coming in to take his turn as he always does. Pritis goes to Myers. He's just 12 short of the halfway line. Walker, Shane that is. Taken by Croker with Wesley Vayner-Colo. Tallis, a couple of players wide there looking to run at some smaller men, but Terry Martin, good game a couple of weeks ago in a beaten side against the Northern Eagles, especially in attack. Some good defence there on the free running second rower. Shafovsky comes to Manuel. Once again, the Raiders will have to do it the hard way from inside their own 20. We've had almost 9 minutes here at Bruce Stadium. Still no score between the Broncos and the Raiders. Past them, which could have almost been forward. Nagus trying to work out of their own 20 in traffic. It's tackled there. Wiki from Finch. Away to Terry Martin. Tackle down low, head on by Myers. What a season he's had so far. Here is DeVico. Some good metres. It's a fast play, the ball away as well. Wolford, some space to work in suddenly, and here they are at the halfway line where Rutchison will play it. Finch, the kicking duties once again, this time rolling it end over end for the touchline. He finds it, and the Broncos will have the loose in the feed. 12 out from their own line.
Yeah, that was a good kick there by Brett Finch. Obviously, Raiders trying to play an up-tempo game. Brisbane are struggling a little bit with the pace, but I'm sure that the Raiders players are too. They'll get a breath. And they know they've got to work in sets of 10 minutes here this afternoon. They're breaking it down. They know that the first 10 minutes is gone. Now for the next 10 minutes, we've really got to work hard on our go forward, really trying to lift the tempo up against the Brisbane side.
So far, it's been a little bit of a chess game. Both sides showing a little bit of their hand, but not showing every bit of it so far. Evenly poised at this particular stage. Both sides having, well, fair control over this, the first part of this game.
Brad Myers.
Put it in.
Just getting small cut cleaned up. Broncos with the ball in their possession. They would have floated at the back there. Now here they go on the attack from the scrum win. Chris Walker cutting back infield, losing distance to try and pick some up. Hands it back to Wendell Saylor, who almost lost his footing for a moment there. Prittis comes to Sivanasiva, dumps it back through Harrison, away to Tallis now. Here's De Vere, good tackle once again down low by Brett Finch. To Keary, going from dummy half, picked up by Odell Manuel. 40 out from the Raiders line. Walker loops a pass. Scott Prince, Lockyer had to reach behind him. Great hands by Saylor. Might have been a touch forward, but it's play on now. Here's Chris Walker, once again searching for space to work in. At the Canberra 20, picking up big metres once more. Walker turning back, looking for a forward running on the inside. Webke was there, but was tackled on suspicion. And they've got one more tackle in this set of 6. Prittis gives it to Lockyer. No kick this time, was trying to find a runner himself, angling back into the space inside him. Had to take the tackle in the end. Once again, not the best finish to a set of 6 for the Broncos.
No, they might have been better off getting to their kick, but the Broncos are certainly using the football here this afternoon, especially up coming out of trouble. The Raiders are playing press line of defence. They're trying to get on the outside. That's where the Raiders want them to be. They want them to play from the sideline so it's easy to defend.
I think what the Broncos are doing is they're wearing down the Canberra Raiders. Not many mistakes when they've got the ball in their hand. They're making the Raiders' defence work overtime to keep them out, and that will take its toll.
Colella, nuggety second rower, goes forward. Now DeVico. By Prittis with the help of Myers. Wolford. And back to Finch. Changes tack and then comes back to his left-hand side under all sorts of pressure here from Harrison. On the last tackle, had to flip it out the back now. Shafovsky straight through the middle of them. Comes to Lockyer. He has support with Croker. Turns it back to Ruben Wiki. Oh, what a try. What a dive from Ruben. They are Dusky. Should stick this straight between the posts. He does. Great start for the Green Machine. 6-0 they lead the Broncos early on here at Bruce Stadium. There is the Brains Trust up high in the stands. Mal Meninga with Matt Elliott on the walkie-talkie. You heard Mal Meninga. They will be sharing the role today as far as changes and replacements and tactics. At the moment it is Matthew Elliott with the walkie-talkie in his hands. He has the ascendancy there, I suppose, if it's a game of chess, if you like, between the two coaches.
It might be a game of chess, but I can assure you Mal will be on that walkie-talkie just as much. They both Keys coaches, they love a chat. They're both very knowledgeable men. And I'm sure that this combination, as it has been, I think, for this year, has been a success.
Michael De Vere. The ball placed, ready to get us back underway.
I just didn't respond because we were on the run.
And it's Finch who fields it from the kick-off and gives it to DeVico. Solid start to the game, if not spectacular, the big front rower. The Raiders spread it wide to Rutchison. Just inside his own 30. Plays it back to Wolford. Colella comes back to Alessi. Pushes away from one player. Coming across and getting barreled backwards with Scott Prince. No uncertain terms there. Wolford now comes to Finch. Here's DeVico again. Runs straight at Tallis and then pushes him backwards for 5 or 6 metres. Gets a ball away. It comes to Wolford. Broncos, such a good defensive line. The best defence in the league coming into this game. You can see how straight that line was on their right-hand side as they were waiting for Wolford to slip a pass. Colella lost it, but it was stripped out.
I called you offside. I called you offside.
Not only was the ball stripped out, but the Broncos were up inside the 10. Brad Myers, the man, encroaching as far as Tony Archer was concerned. And you would think that Clinton Shafovsky from not too far out might have a chance here to add to this scoreline.
Yeah, I thought they might have tried to keep the pressure on the Broncos from this penalty, but it was just great work from the Raiders. They're really targeting the Broncos on the right-hand side defence. You notice with the Broncos' defensive line, they don't all come up as one. In the middle they come up, but the edges like to hang back, and the Raiders are having a lot of success looking like they're going to just take the ball up and then using tip-ons or long balls, and they're getting in behind or creating numbers against this Brisbane defence.
Yeah, I reckon you're dead right, Laurie. I think they're trying to tire them out too. The Broncos, 10 of those Broncos players have had a game this week. This is a fresh Canberra outfit. They've got fresh legs. They'll be ready to go. They'll be trying to tire them early. And I think what you're saying is right. Second, third, fourth, fifth phase football really puts the pressure on the Broncos' defence.
Well, if you can create a lot of second phase play against a team that's played more football than what you have, not only do they defend 6 tackles, they're defending 12. It seems like 12 and 13 tackles in the one set if you can create that second phase play. And if you're controlling the ball, it's very hard to stop, and you do become lazy at some stage.
Schifofsky around about 15 metres in from that eastern touchline. Strikes this one beautifully as well. Hooking, but it stays between the posts. And the Raiders looking good at the moment. Big underdogs coming into this game against the Broncos, but they lead 8-0.
Yeah, well, the Raiders certainly have to have a lead into this game. Obviously, the Broncos have got the legs behind them. They've done the distance, and the Raiders have had a couple of weeks off. So you'll be looking for them to fade later in the game. But it depends how many points the Raiders put on the board early, especially after this solid start that they've shown.
Hold!
Wendell Sailor waiting for De Vere once again to get us back underway. Vico takes it himself from the kickoff. Back to the 20 where he plays it for Wolford. Hutchison, a lot of work to do early on. Some good inroads into this Brisbane defensive line. Wolford comes to Croker. Plays on the left-hand side almost exclusively for the Raiders, but was playing on the right-hand side of the field for New South Wales on Sunday night. Now Wiki turning it back to Finch as they keep it alive. He gets it back to Schifofsky, searching for that yawning gap that was there that led to the try once again. Wolford back to Finch. Here's Schifofsky again. Perhaps the most involved fullback in the league at the moment, nailing in almost every tackle. Wiki. Nagus it is, gets the kick in. Set up nicely for Lockyer. Not a bad chasing line from the Raiders, but they were slow to move up on that far side of the field. And allowed Lockyer to get across field and link up with Sailor, and you don't want that happening too often.
No, they might be better off trying to kick to the wingers straight up. Obviously, they're going to get involved in the second play, but the thing about kicking to Lockyer on the first tackle, he likes to create the opportunities for his outside man. At least with Kiri and Sailor, you know that they're just going to try and beat you on that one run.
Prittis struggling to get back to his feet as Chris Walker fires a pass to his brother Shane. Now Lockyer has De Vere outside him, straight inside. Emmanuel he went. He has to Kiri leading up, and he's tackled 5 metres out. Good work by Schifofsky once again. Walker to Tallis, racing up out of the line. Vainikolo crunched him. Tallis didn't think too much of it either. Here's Lockyer, fires a pass away to Walker. He can't get involved in the action enough either at the moment. It comes backwards to De Vere. He's just 8 metres away. They've hung on for 5 tackles. Sivanasiva gives it to Lockyer. The crossfield bomb. Some pressure coming up. Oh, Sailor got there, couldn't hang on to it.
Not forward.
Well, that was great defence here by the Canberra Raiders.
He really blew a try there. He just didn't draw the fullback. He gave him the ball. Gave the ball to Kiri way too early. There was 4 points. Definitely gone begging for that for the Brisbane Broncos side. No doubt about that. And you're right, Laurie. What about the scrambling defence from the Raiders?
Here's De Vico playing it at the halfway line. They've survived a couple of scares. And now here they are, 40 away from the Broncos line. Good try here. Really set some hearts fluttering amongst the Broncos camp. Good kick from Finch though, once again forcing the Broncos to work it from a set play situation deep inside their own territory.
Well, that's smart play by the Raiders. They're trying to play an up-tempo game, but they realise that they've got to get their rest at some stage. We spoke about breaking the game down in 10-minute periods, and that's exactly what they've done. 30th minute mark they found touch, 20th minute mark they've done it as well. Just good thinking by the Raiders.
You talk about utilising what you've got. I see Luke De Vico's off and Toddy Payton's on for the first time, so they're keeping the power up front. They want to take them on up front.
Well, they do. And also Todd Payton, he adds a lot of impact when he does come off the bench. He's got a bit of skill as well.
Here's Walker. Going up against Jamal Alessi and almost got away from him as well. Croker comes in to help out. Broncos keen to go to that right-hand side early in the tackle count. Chris Walker, there's an injury there coming out of that tackle, perhaps just a knock to the shin. Receive some treatment from the trainer as Scott Prince it is, who'll play the ball for him. Sivanasiva now tackled by Todd Payton, who's out there, as you said, Russell, for Luke DeVico, who's gone back to the bench for the moment. Here is Tallis. Back in behind the ruck.
Offside, Sean, you made the tackle. Right there.
Up inside the 10, the Raiders. Lockyer, very quickly, he wants to get on with it and get things going and try and spark something here for the Brisbane Broncos. Here's Sivanasiva. They're 20 out. They've been down here a few times and have nothing to show for it so far. We're midway through this first half. Shane Walker comes back to Brad Myers. And dubbed heavily by Wolford with the help of Wiki. Burns out there. He's 10 out from the line. Crawls forward an extra metre or so and plays it back to Prittis. A fast play, the ball. Prittis, I'm sure, had thoughts about going himself. Talking about going himself, Shane Walker gets across the line. He's contending he got the ball down.
So you got to put it down on the line, matey. You don't just hit the post.
Walker might have hit the post with the ball, as he said. There it is, the contact, but it needs to be in contact with the post and the ground at the same time.
Yeah, and the ball did not touch the ground at that stage. Very noticeable that the Broncos are starting to turn the ball inside, trying to pick up Prittis, getting out, looking for numbers back on the inside. The markers and the A defenders on either side of the ruck have to be very wary for the Raiders.
So it is Walker who feeds it. And Lockyer comes away to De Vere, who's gone close a couple of times. Takiri also almost scored. He'll play it back to Takiri. Lockyer through the hands now to Myers. Three of them there. Payton with the help of Martin and also Ruben Wiki there to stop the rangy second rower. Prittis fires the ball to Walker. Comes to Darren Burns. He's just 3 or 4 metres away. Hawkins left and right. Prittis comes to this left-hand side as they put on a set play, and Harrison also goes very close to scoring. They continue to hang on here, the Raiders. Rock solid defensive line so far. Tallis, decoy play. Lockyer fires a pass to De Vere. He must surely score. Don't tell me he got held up as well. He did.
Fourth tackle. Thanks, Hendo.
For the second time in a row, a Bronco has got across the line. This time, Kenny Nagus was able to hold up Michael De Vere. They turned him on his back, having the same nightmares that New South Wales had last Sunday night.
Well, it was great work there by Kenny Nagus and the Raiders. They're scrambling particularly well on the line. But I'd just like to see them get off their line a little bit harder. If they start sliding on the line, you can go through them easy enough and you can get the ball over. You've got to come up, so if you get a side-on tackle, then they can't put the ball down and score.
Takiri will play at the third consecutive set for the Broncos. This weight of possession must eventually tell on the Raiders, but they continue to hang tough.
Well, both sides have been at great completion rates.
Prittis comes to Shane Walker. Now to Lockyer. Options he has, Tallis. Tackle down low by Wolford. Well read by the Canberra defence once again. Lockyer instructing players from dummy half. Comes to Sivanasiva. And hung on for 4 tackles once again here. Prittis, it goes quickly to Lockyer, the playmaker. Walker, good ball away to Harrison, but well read once again by this Raiders defence. I'll play it there. Lockyer again at first receiver. Chipping this time for the in goal. Too big. Super effort by the Green Machine. They say they're bad and mean and mighty unclean, and they certainly have been in defence, Laurie.
Oh, that's fantastic work by the Raiders. They were getting off their line. They were putting pressure. They were also very aware of the inside ball that the Broncos like to play, especially near the line. They knew that Lockyer was going to kick it on the last tackle. That's great work, but this is the tough stuff. We've got to get the ball and get it up the other end of the field.
What they did was they made the tackles on the key players, people like Gordon Tallis, as they throw the ball into space there, and that has been, they'll be disappointed about that one because they've worked hard for almost 3 sets of 6 to get themselves out of trouble, but now they're back in it. But what they did was they tackled the key men. As Croker goes off the field, he has a spell. Gordon Tallis, Darren Lockyer got pressure on them, and therefore it affects their runners, and their runners run off those key players, and that's why there wasn't a great deal there. It was fairly simple to cover the inside ball.
In we go.
Brisbane again, just 30 metres out this time. Here is Lockyer. Comes away to Scott Prince. He shows it. Hanging on for grim life. Still trying to get him to the sideline is Jamal Lalessi. He went very close to doing so. Could have been penalised. Will be. Gave Tony Archer no option but to blow the whistle. He did well, dragging Prince towards the touchline. Then when he shoved him back to the ground, he gave Archer absolutely no option but to penalise him.
You can't keep turning the ball over and giving away penalties against this quality Brisbane side. They've come to play football today, as has the Raiders.
Prince succumbs to Shane Walker. Sorry, Laurie, as they go on the attack here. Nobody at first receiver. It bounces up for Brad Myers. Bruce, I'm sure, was waiting for either Shane Walker or Lockyer to be there. Neither was. He takes the tackle, 5 out. Once again, from this Canberra line, they seem to have been camped down here for an eternity. Lockyer with players in motion again. Prince looking for a gap. Desperate tackle made by Lalessi once again. Lockyer gives it to Harrison. He's gone close to scoring a couple of times, only an arm length away that time. Prentice fires a pass. Shane Walker grubbering. Once again, Shafovsky is there to clean up, but they will get 6 more tackles, the Broncos, from a goal line dropout.
Well, it's just been great defence by the Canberra Raiders. They've really got to muscle up this time. This can break the back of the Broncos side if they just keep turning them out. It's just been good defence. They've been getting off the line. The Brisbane side, they've looked a little bit rusty around the dummy half and first receiver this afternoon. Obviously, Sean Berrigan's out with injury. Sometimes the pass from Prentice hasn't gone to the man that's wanted the ball. And Lockyer is very noticeably up at first receiver a lot more.
The defence is frustrating the Brisbane Broncos. They had ample numbers on the outside. I think it was about 5 on 3, yet Lockyer kicked it, so this defence is frustrating them.
Here is Webke. He's 30 out, playing it back to Prentice. Countless tackles inside the Canberra 20, and still it's the Raiders who lead 8-0 here with 12 minutes left in this first half. It's been an onslaught from Brisbane. They are still scoreless. Prentice now comes to Prince. They shift it again to this left-hand side. Lockyer, another cut-out ball for Devere. Turns it back on the inside for Takiri. They continue to scramble though, the Raiders. Here's Tass. Brett Finch. He'll play it back at the 20. Rode him like a Bronco. Up you go there, cowboy. Here's Lockyer now. Fires a pass. Numbers for the Broncos. Prince hangs onto it. Gets the ball back to Webke, and he's tackled on the 5th. Here's Prentice going from dummy half himself. Surely he must score.
Got it down.
From the junction, on the 20-metre line, and the 10-metre in from touchline on that eastern side. Strikes it nicely, but it hooks away. The Raiders soaked up all the pressure and coughed up just 4 points as a consequence. And you could see the disappointment on the face of the Raiders as they stood behind the line waiting for that kick to come from Michael Devere. They had worked so hard in defence and were confident, quite obviously, they could keep holding out the Brisbane Broncos. The passive Wayne Bennett, we saw him sitting high in the stands for the moment. Wouldn't be too disappointed with his side's efforts. Such a mental barrier to come back from last week. It would be a huge letdown coming off the highs of Sunday to playing here against the Raiders this week.
Yes.
Very easy for the Raiders now to switch off, and it could be just the key that the Broncos were looking for to get them to play with a bit more confidence than they have been. It'll be interesting to see just what happens. The Raiders' defence right now has to stand up.
Webke there, tackled by Anthony Kallela, who has one of the more interesting bandages around his head for the time being. It goes from the top of his head around his chin and then back up the other side. Looks like something from the Mummy Returns. Here's Shafovsky. Will bring it back out from inside his own 20. Tight game, this one here at Bruce Stadium this afternoon. Just 8 points to 4 the scoreline. As we approach half-time, Terry Martin bounce away from the tackle of Webke. Carl Webb out there now also for the Broncos. So Michael Hodgson, former Eel, carts it up. Here is Lalessi, tackled and siding. Tackled down low by Harrison from marker. And then
You're in the way. He's in there, Gordon. He's in there.
there's a cumbersome effort at best to try and get away from the ball being played. Once again, Archer given little choice but to blow a penalty. He was there trying to get out of the way, but when he interfered with the play like that, Archer had to blow the whistle. So the Raiders get a rare chance here to go into Bronco territory. In fact, when you think back there, one lone try of the game so far came from inside their own half, a scrambling play at the start, and Finch was lucky to get the ball away. Shafovsky motored downfield for Wiki to score. Hodgson. Just outside this Brisbane 20. Here's Martin taking it, looking to offload once again, 10 metres out. Can they apply some pressure now to the belly of the Broncos? Here's Finch. Comes back to McClendon, who's out there. He offloads to Kallela. Here is the mummy looking for the tomb, the secret code to open the door. 5 metres away. Wolford through Finch. And then McClendon. Here's Wiki turning it back for McClendon. And straight into the tackle there of Shane Walker. Nagus fires it to Finch. Grubbers off the legs of a Bronco. It comes back to Prince. He forces it. And the Raiders have done well. They'll get 6 more tackles.
Well, that was great there by the Raiders. What a wonderful pick-up by Mark McClendon off his toes, one hand.
Okay.
He may not have tried to kick it, but he certainly inadvertently interfered with the play of the ball. And really, the Raiders would have been disadvantaged had they not received a penalty. The Broncos, moving up off their line, would have swamped Simon Wolford as soon as he picked it up. And really, Archer, despite the protest of Gordon Tallis, had no choice but to blow a penalty. Here they are, though. That's old news now as Payton plays it back to Wolford. Here's Finch. It comes to McClendon. Wiki outside him once again. Once again he offloads. McClendon leapfrogs everybody, looking for the line himself. He'll go very close. He reached out and put the ball
I just want to check that arm comes in contact with the ground first, and he then moves the arm forward.
Tony Archer wants to take a look at it, and the video referee Ian Parnaby will have the decision to make himself. McClendon is confident that he has scored. He reached out here. He found a little bit of daylight. Seven Receiver came across to close up, reaching out, puts the ball down on the line. Hard to see anything wrong with that one initially.
That is a try. What great work by McClendon. He's looked dangerous when he's come onto the football field. He rolls the arm over. He's got control of it. He places it down. Try.
Well, it was a great solid run. The second effort, you look for it. You look for it in players. You look nothing better than to get themselves an extra 4 points, possible 6 points, and that'll take them out to a little bit more than they thought they would be after the first 40 minutes.
Confirmation from Ian Parnaby. The green lights go up, no problem. From the video referee, McClendon scored a couple of good tries already this year. Gets his 3rd of the season. Elliott once again busy on the walkie-talkie. They'd be delighted with the score, 12-4, as we approach half-time here, just over 5 minutes left. Of course, Shafovsky with the chance to extend that lead to 10 points.
Well, if they're happy, how come they weren't smiling, Big Mal and Matty Elliott up there? They know they've got another 40 to go, that's for sure.
Well, they were dancing on the inside, baby, don't you worry. Now, it's a Watusi he's doing between that Raiders jacket, I'm sure. He's loving this at the moment.
There is some concern there on Mal's face, let me tell you. He's going to go through the fingernails if he keeps that up.
Big game for them, of course. A loss here today would see them once again slide a long way from the top 8, but a win would have them just 1 point back. Shafovsky strikes it nicely. No problems for the kick-up. Having a good day this afternoon. It's 14-4 in favour of Bennett. Has left Bruce Stadium as a loser with his Brisbane Broncos. Last year's performance came in the middle of Origin time as well, and the games were a lot closer together than they are this year, of course, with the Origin games being played as a sole events on their various weekends. Last year the Broncos had a number of their stars missing for this clash here at Bruce Stadium. It gave the likes of Justin Hodges, who was on the bench today, to get their chance to be out there amongst the stars, and they went very close to causing an upset with the Broncos last year. But this would be an upset today if the Raiders can keep that streak of 3 successive wins here at Bruce going against the Broncos. And they are well on their way to doing that here this afternoon. Is Vainikolo. Hasn't had too much to do with the ball in his hands, but can be a danger when he gets involved. McClendon gets the kick away, and Lockyer tracks across. Fielded inside his own 20. No sign so far between himself and Takiri of the combinations they put together a couple of times against New South Wales last Sunday night to such devastating effect.
No, they've really worked hard on their kick chase this week, the Raiders, by the look of things. They've gone down there in a line a number of times. There's been no space for Lockyer to work with his wingers.
Webb. Almost back to the halfway line. Here's Prittis picking it up and going in the one motion. Comes to De Vere. Slammed onto his back by Mark McClendon. Now Tallis down the short side. Takiri with barely a metre to work in the shadows of the grandstand here at Bruce Stadium. On the last tackle now. Lockyer once again, that spiral bomb. The pressure coming up on Vainikolo. Took it well and then had visions of going a long way downfield. Got away from Saylor. Fires a pass to Shafovsky. Here comes Croker now. The counter-attack immediately from the Raiders.
Well, that is just confidence. Leslie Vainikolo, who had his problems under the high ball, took it sensationally. It was a spiral bomb. Then he offloaded to Croker. Croker back to Shafovsky. And the Raiders are playing with plenty of confidence. And when they're in this mood, they can beat anyone.
Finch gives it to Payton. The Broncos are up very quickly there. Tallis able to meet him now. Wolford going from dummy half. Comes to Finch. Martin spinning in the tackle there of Harrison, who cuts him down at the halfway line. Shafovsky. Play it there on the last tackle. Fire it to Croker, who gets the kick away and bounces high over the head of Wendell Saylor. To keep the ball in play, Big Wendell, and keep it alive. And just 90 seconds left on the clock here. They'll use up some time here setting the scrum, and then the Raiders should only have 6 more tackles to last until half-time.
Yeah, it was great play there by Jason Croker, realising that Brisbane, you're better off to defend them from a set start where your defensive line can get in order. And they've just got to hold out for this set of 6, and they will be very confident going in at half-time, because Brisbane have turned up here ready to play football today. Their completion rates have been solid, but the Raiders defended stoutly as he's missed.
Lockyer went straight through the tackle of Mark McClendon. They chase him. Now they come to get him. He fires the ball back on the inside for Michael De Vere. Tackled by Brett Finch. A costly miss by Mark McClendon. Will they make them pay? Walker fires a ball wide to his brother Chris Walker. He tries to take them on. Martin makes the tackle. 46 seconds left. Saylor has it. Runs across field. Looking for a gap himself. Can't find one for the moment. He's tackled midfield. 5 out from the line. 3 tackles left. Prittis again from dummy half. Turns it back for Sivanasiva. He got there to score the try. At 5/8, the Raiders. Andrew McFadden has had the job for most of the season. He was playing in First Division this week. Dropped from the top side, and McClendon gets his chance with the number 6 on his back after spending most of the first part of the season on the wing for the Raiders, especially since Leslie Vainikolo has been out of action. McClendon has played almost exclusively in Vainikolo's position on the left wing for Canberra, but gets his chance in closer to the action today. Just caught out there with Lockyer on the inside shoulder from the scrum. He was angling, sliding across to his right-hand side, and when Lockyer straightened, he was merely a turnstile. Here is De Vere from right in front and adds the extra 2. As the half-time siren sounds, it was a 10-point lead at one stage in those first 40 minutes. Michael De Vere gets us underway for the second half. The Raiders have 40 minutes to try and hang on here. Hodgson will play it inside his own 20.
We're talking about hanging on, Warren. The Raiders at one stage were known as the faders. They were leading most of their games and they were falling behind. I can tell you that they do concede over 60% of the points in the second half. So let's hope, for Laurie's sake, that they don't start to cough up possession and give the ball to the opposition.
Here's Finch now from dummy half. A composed first 40 minutes from the young halfback. Martin has been doing some good work in recent times, running the ball forward. As I said earlier, had a good game against the Eagles. The beaten side a couple of weeks ago at North Power Stadium. He's picked up plenty of metres once again this afternoon. Here's to Keary. Close to scoring a couple of times in the first half. Lockyer. He took one scything run and a missed tackle by Mark McClendon for everybody to be reminded in a hurry just how dangerous an attacking weapon Darian Lockyer can be. Likewise for Chris Walker, tackled there by Lilesi. Here's Saylor now. He's across the halfway line. 2 tackles left in this set for the Broncos. Prittis gives it off to Webke. Short ball for Shane Walker. Good tackle from Ruben Wiki though. Sliding on the inside there, the second rower as comes through the hands of Webb. And Lockyer grubbers the ball down for Shafovsky. Raiders work it away from their own 20. Del Manuel didn't see too much of the ball in attack in the first half. Payton comes to Scott Prince. Almost gets past the 5'8". Webb there helping him make the tackle, and here he is again down low. Suvanasiva making the tackle on Michael Hodgson. Croker play it there on the last tackle. Lilesi comes to Wolford. Finch it is. Hands it off as they put it through the hands on the last tackle. Wiki now to Manuel on that far side. He play it there. He's waiting for something to happen. Not much did. It was almost as if it was the third or fourth tackle.
It wasn't the right field. The Raiders, they should have got to their kick there. They've got to start to build this game again. They can't just expect things to happen again in the second half.
There is Suvanasiva almost back to the halfway line. Go through the hands to the back line as Prince looks for options. He had Walker cutting back on the inside. Took the tackle. Harrison feeds it off to Chris Walker. Just outside that Raiders 30 is Saylor. To Shane Walker. Flat pass up in the face of them very quickly. Davis was there to try and shut down Carl Webb and force the ball loose as well. They've turned it over, the Broncos. Great piece of work from the Raiders in defence, Ken Nagus.
That's what they have to do, the Raiders. They're going to keep showing up in defence and try and frustrate this Brisbane side. I've noticed early in the second half, they've gone wide on most occasions, which is very un-Broncos-like. They like to just roll it forward and get a good kicking chase game away, but they've used the ball to the edges a bit. The Raiders have just got to keep numbering up and frustrate them.
McClendon has to go back and clean up. I'd like to make up for that defensive miss at the end of the first half. Wiki from dummy half spins away from the tackle of Suvanasiva. Strong game from the Kiwi this afternoon and gets a good ball away as well. Payton flips it, comes back to Croker. He puts a kick in for Vaynerkolo. Lockyer is there and gets driven backwards, almost back to the in goal by Lilesi.
Well, that was good play by the Canberra Raiders. They showed a fair bit of composure there, although might have been Joseph Croker. I'd have held on to the ball, looked for some space back down this left-hand side, but they certainly created a bit of space. That's what they weren't doing at the end of the first half, so they've come out with renewed confidence in this second half.
Here's Webke now. He's also been well contained. This Raiders forward pack has really aimed up this afternoon, but finally some good metres here. No, Suvanasiva lost it.
2 hands in it. Hey. 2 hands in it. Yeah, but you played with the ball, mate. Wait there. Hey, Chris, let me look after it, right?
Suvanasiva, according to Tony Archer, lost the ball as a consequence of Simon Wolford having his hand in there in the tackle. Wolford vigorously denied the charge, and well, that one there might not have quite shown what exactly happened before the ball came loose. Nonetheless, the Broncos have it 30 metres from the Raiders line. Here is Carl Webb. Play it back to Prittis. Bulldogs play the ball, gives Prentice some room to move in. Dragged down from behind by Hodgson. Tallis, a dummy half. Comes to Webke. The Broncos looking to tie this scoreline up. Prince almost gets the line. In fact, is brought down just centimetres short of it. Plays it quickly to Walker. He finds Lockyer. Fires the ball to Tallis. 3-on-2 out wide for the Broncos. Here's Tallis now, it's 3-on-1. He steps back inside. Here's McClendon, brings the big second rower to ground. They slid across well. Shane Walker comes to Lockyer now. Grubbers for the in-goal again. Schifofsky will just shovel it across the dead ball line. And the Broncos will get 6 more tackles. It's almost a repeat of what happened in the first half.
Yeah, it was great work there by Lockyer, putting the ball in behind the line. The Raiders, they're starting to look a little bit tired. We thought they would tire in the second half, but not as early. They're getting a bit wide around the middle of the ruck. And we know that the Broncos like to use that inside ball, especially close to the try line.
Taking their time here, the Raiders. Use up as much of the clock as they possibly can with this 4-point lead in their favour.
Hold tight. Set.
Schifofsky gets it off the side of the boot slightly, but comes to Lockyer at the 40-metre line before he hands it off for Sivanasiva. Be warming into this match slowly, the Broncos, or perhaps not so slowly. They've coughed up the forward pass here, though. Shane Walker. Pass away to Carl Webb, no doubt about it being forward.
Thank you. No.
A real wasted chance here for the Broncos. Sure, Laurie Daly, you are hoping that that might have been an intentional forward pass. It might have in fact been a penalty to the Raiders.
Well, it did look like an intentional forward pass, one.
He says, with his green sleeves poking out of his shirt. Alan Tongue out there for Ruben Wiki, who gets a breather for the moment. Sure, it won't be for too long a time. It has been very good for Canberra this afternoon. Plenty of changes left for both sides. Here is McClendon getting a ball away. It came off the hands of Prentice and then back to McClendon. So it will be a renewed tackle count for the Raiders. 6 again. Here's Martins. Prince leaps up around his shoulders to stop him. 45 out from this Brisbane line as Wolford goes to his right-hand side. McClendon fires a pass over the top to Nagus. Comes back infield for Manuel, who almost got away from everybody. Dragged to ground there, only just. Here is Schifofsky, McClendon rather, going midfield. To link up with a run-up and play it back for Wolford. Goes from dummy half, chopped down in a tackle by the marker. It was Prentice who got him. McClendon comes to Finch, to Croker now. Gets a kick away while holding off Chris Walker. It wasn't a bad kick in the end. And Darren Lockyer will be held in goal. They'll get it back. Terrific work from Jason Croker. How did he hold off Chris Walker and then get the kick away with the left foot?
Well, that's great skills there by Croker. He realised it was 5th tackle. They decided to run the football. There was nothing on. Left foot. He shows all his skills. Great work by the Raiders players coming up. Vainikolo. Terry Martin has had a strong game today here with Jamal Alessi. And that's good work.
Well, if they can get a try out of this, you can thank the chasing team. It was excellent then. They worked as a real trio and corralled him inside over the try line.
The drop out is a long one, more than 50 on the fly, where Schifofsky fields it just inside his own half before Hodgson brings it back. Just over 9 minutes gone in this second half. No addition to the half-time scoreline. Schifofsky, it's that left hand free. Nobody was expecting it. They thought he was tackled and they were sizing things up for the next hit-up. Here it is again from Tongue to Schifofsky. Standing in the tackle there of Harrison. Got another ball away. 2 offloads in the 1 tackle for the fullback. Playing as an extra halfback at times this afternoon. Here's Wolford now, going from dummy half. 3 tackles left. They're just over 10 metres out from the Broncos line as Payton gives it off to Finch. Double pumps it. Comes to the Alessi. Well, he couldn't hang on to it. And a good thing that Walker for the Broncos didn't pick it up on the first attempt. He would have gone 90 metres certainly and score. He had a go at it. And the Raiders were shot to bits. There was nobody at home had he taken it.
Yeah, well, they're trying to play fancy. They're trying to play where they left off in this first half. They've got to get back to going forward. You notice Wolford getting out of dummy half. McClendon starting to look a bit dangerous. When they create second phase play, they work for a quick play the ball and they get out. Then they can start going to the edge of the ruck.
Justin Hodges out there on that left-hand wing for Lottie Takiri at the moment. Jumper 16 he's wearing as Harrison just gets away from the tackle of Terry Martin. A good tackle by the second rower once again. Prince turns it on the inside. Intercept taken by Brett Finch. Nobody in front of him against the run of play, and Finch will go 50 metres and score for the Raiders. It came out of absolutely nothing. There were no Broncos at home. And moments earlier, Chris Walker had a chance to take an intercept and go the length of the field. Well, Brett Finch returns the favour. It's an 8-point lead, perhaps about to be 10 for the Raiders. Great piece of luck for them.
Well, it was great work there by Brett Finch, covering up on the inside. That's where we know that the Broncos are going to try and test the Raiders up the middle of the park. They all done their job. They all come across. Princey threw the ball, and Finch was there on the spot. He's got enough speed to get to the line.
Inside man covers inside pass. I can't believe Prince couldn't see Brett Finch at that stage. Finch wasn't sure he was through the hole, and when he turned around, you could see the smile on his face there, realising that no one was going to catch him. They were all up in the line, expecting the ball to come back. Okay, it was 65 metres, and there was no one chasing him, but he just cruised home at the end.
Of course, but also in the greater scheme of things, as far as this premiership goes, 6 games already played at home at Bruce this year. Just 3 wins to show for it. Well down on their usual home percentage of wins. They're so tough to beat here over the last 10 or 12 years. We're at Meninga, still discussing things. High in the stands. They had a 10-point lead moments before half-time. It was reduced to 4. Schifofsky can restore it to the full 10 points off the upright, and over it goes. Luck is going their way at the moment for the Raiders.
Well, when you play the best team in the competition, you need every ounce of luck you can get. And the Raiders have certainly had that today. As you can see, Don Ferner sitting up with Wayne Bennett. I'm sure Wayne wouldn't be smiling, although his team has played very well here this afternoon. It's been a quality game with both teams here ready to go.
Co-coaches of a different era, almost up against co-coaches of the current era today. Almost a handing over the baton here at Bruce Stadium this afternoon, from the old to the new. Alan Tongue will play it. 30 out from his own line as Finch comes to Rutchison. Here's Wolford from dummy half, picking up 10, 12 or maybe even more metres. It's a fast play the ball away as well. Here's McClendon. Don't need to give him any room to move. 10-point lead for the Raiders. The Broncos can ill afford to see that lead blow out any further. Croker got the kick away. Wendell Saylor knocked it back, according to Tony Archer. It draws groans from the faithful here at Bruce Stadium. One of them standing right alongside me.
I can't believe that wasn't awarded a knock on. Now, I know I am supporting the Raiders, but I think Wendell might have, when he looks at that on video, was very lucky to get away with it.
Shane Walker comes back to Mark Corvo, the former Raider and former teammate of yours, Laurie. There it is. A great angle to judge a knock on from, but may well have been very lucky. Prittis comes to Gordon Tallis, and he's 40 metres out from the Raiders line. And they reduce this margin once again. Lockyer, another spiral bomb torpedoing through the air for Schifofsky. He's been terrific this afternoon. Here he is, going downfield again, picking up 15 metres after making the catch. What a game he's having.
That's not an easy ball to take, let me tell you. As it comes to you, the last 10 metres as it's coming down, it floats away, and it was a fantastic pick-up. Then he makes 15 metres and sets the Raiders up for some more attack.
Not straight at marker. Not straight at marker. No way, Gordon. He wasn't straight at marker.
Justin Hodges, the man penalised, not being square at marker. A little harshly done by looking at that one. Perhaps things even up after all, Laurie.
I think they might, but the referee was in the right spot, Warren.
So, Warren, just look at the Broncos. They look like they're tiring both mentally and physically as we see Big Lazo in there. He can tell both of these sides what to do. He's played with both of them, premierships with both of them. But the Broncos looks as though they're tiring mentally more than they are physically.
That was always going to be the question, how they would back up mentally this afternoon. And here is Rutchison again. He's just 12 metres away from this Broncos line. A try here for the Raiders. Be such a boost for them, and they would be good things, you would think, from that point on to hang on and win this game. Here's Wolford now, looking for options. Can't find one, looking all the time when he rides that tackle to the ground from Pritis. Still just under 24 minutes left. Shafovsky comes to McClendon. A ball back on the inside for DeVico. Wolford gets to dummy half. Gives a pass to McClendon as they put it through the hands. Finch, played out by a Bronco, not played out according to Tony Archer.
I got a call. Listen, I got a call that it was played at, so there's no problem. I got a call. Why do you have to? Why do I have to? Because I got one. Let's go. Wait there. Let's fly together.
Tony Archer certainly has his hands full with a couple of Broncos out there at the moment. Most notably the captain, Gordon Tallis, who of course has had his run-ins in recent times with referees, if you hark back to last year's Origin.
Yeah, well, he's probably got every right to argue the point there. I thought that De Vere was going to make the tackle. He's knocked it down. The Raiders get a bit of luck, which they've had in the last couple of sets.
Here is Jamal Alessi now. Just 8 metres out from this Broncos line. More pressure on the visitors as Croker takes a chance to try and force his way over. They play it back to Wolford. McClendon again at first receiver with Finch outside him. Steps off the right foot, comes back to McClendon, who shows it. Offloads it to Nagus, stepping in traffic. He offloads it to Rutchison. Here's DeVico. He thinks there's a chance to score, and he gets very close. He'll play it back to Shafovsky. If they come left, there's a big chance for the Raiders. Wolford to Nagus. He knows where the ball needs to go. It can still go there. Finch looking for his second in minutes. He gets there and scores. There were holes everywhere on the right-hand side of the Broncos' defensive line, and it looked as though the Raiders weren't going to be able to find them, but Finch ducks under a tackle, scores again for the second time in succession. Gordon Tallis is absolutely furious, but they are in a big hole now, the Broncos.
Well, they are, but you can never write this team off, the Broncos. But the Raiders, they've persevered all day. They go wide, or look to go wide. The Brisbane defence come up hard. Kenny Nagus. You think that the play is going to stop there. Chris Walker comes up with thin air, and Brett Finch, 2 tries in the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, this is fantastic ball movement. That's what takes the Broncos defence by surprise. They move it, they draw them out of position, they can't realign, and that's what does it. This ball from Nagus, and look, they have switched off mentally. There's a big hole there. Where's the man covering the inside pass? The Broncos have gone to sleep. They're going to be made to pay by the Raiders today. They are in fine form.
Coming to the bench for the time being, replaced by his coach, Wayne Bennett. I dare say he doesn't look out of breath, and he's copping a bit of stick from the Canberra fans as well as he makes this long trek back to the bench. And I'm sure Wayne Bennett just thinks it might be time for Gordo to cool it, keep the powder dry and come back on after 5 or 10 minutes to try and get the Broncos back into this game right at the death perhaps. But I'll tell you what, it's going to be a fairly formidable scoreline they face here. 24-10 at the moment. And Shafovsky from right in front will make it a 16-point lead for Canberra. Poised to score. Only a couple of players on this side of the field. Walker, you can see there, only had Wendell Saylor outside him. There is Lockyer also just floating behind Walker. And there were a number of Raiders looking for the ball, and they were celebrating long before Finch got the ball down. Shafovsky in the arms of Nagus. They know what a win would do for their season this afternoon. They'll be just 1 point out of the top 8. It would be a real boost to their chances. Here's Finch, got the ball loose, knocked back by Brad Myers. Just when they'd made that lead a really healthy one, they go and force a pass like that and put themselves under all sorts of pressure here. Shane Walker turns it back to Wendell Saylor. Pritis gives it off. It comes to Corvo, spinning in the tackle. 3 tackles left in this set of 6 as Pritis looks for options to his right. He goes left. He finds Shane Walker. What's happening for him? He had Lockyer outside him. He now cuts back to this right-hand side and stands at first receiver. Prittis finds him. Lockyer goes past a couple, gives it to Prince, to Chris Walker. Got away from a high tackle and they're back straight away through Chris Walker. It was a costly mistake when they coughed the ball up. And once again, the Broncos, as swiftly as only they can, have hit back.
Well, that's what a quality side does to you when you make mistakes. And that time the Raiders, off a forced pass, they made the mistake. The Broncos go wide. Chris Walker, they've got danger players all over the field. They'd be still confident to try and...
Well, he may have been adjudged, but not to be. And gee, they're back in this ball game, and you're dead set right, Laurie. They think they can win it. I reckon they'll go very close to it now. This is just the tonic they needed.
DeVere from almost the touchline. Strikes it well, coming back, but not enough. It shaves the right upright. But lead remains 12 points, 26-14 to the Raiders. And we've got just on 17 minutes left. 2 converted tries now, the difference. Wendell Saylor. A line of thinking from some people in recent times that he hasn't been quite to the level that we have come to expect of Wendell Saylor. A big chance here, though, with Tallis off the field, and he's one of the more experienced players on the field for the Broncos now to take an upper hand here and try and get them back into the game by becoming very involved. We'll see what happens. Prince bobbles that ball, but it went backwards. Prittis comes to Sivanasiva. Lockyer again at first receiver. Goes through Prince. Away to Chris Walker. Vainakolo can't catch him. He's carrying his shoulder. And Prittis is there in support as well as Darren Lockyer. And he will score under the posts. A number of options for Chris Walker. He found Darren Lockyer. And they've scored 2 tries in the space of 2 minutes. And they are right back in this game up to their eyebrows. Was disconcerting seeing Leslie Vainakolo trying to catch Chris Walker with his arm hanging limply by his side.
Yeah, well, Leslie's in all sorts of trouble out there. The Raiders, they've played a compressed defensive line all day, and Brisbane have tried their luck a number of times, but as the game's worn on, they've looked vulnerable out wide, the Raiders. So you can't give this guy too much space, Chris Walker. He's got plenty of speed, and then you've got Lockyer and Saylor backing up in support. I think the Raiders might have to readjust their defensive line, maybe getting the halfback.
The previous try from this one, that they were just, the confidence was bubbling there. It was too easy, and they just cruised over out wide. No reason they scored this one just a couple of minutes later. It also was just as easy. Look out, Raiders, here come the Broncos.
Well, we mentioned their second half woes at the beginning of this half of football. Russell, of course, giving up more than 60% of the points they've conceded this year in the second half. And Lockyer scores a very important try. It took them barely 3 tackles to go down the field and score that try. Here's a big tackle from DeVico. They need some solid defence now as Bennett looks on still.
They need 5 more of those, Ryan. If they can give them 5 more of those, they're in this with a bit of a chance. If they can't, and the Broncos really start to make some inroads, it'll just become a procession.
Darren Burns making one of those inroads. Almost back to the halfway line. Vainakolo came from the field as the Broncos lined up that conversion attempt through Michael DeVere. That will force a reshuffle once again in the back line for the Raiders. But at the moment, it's the Broncos forward who are doing the damage down the middle of the park. Prittis comes to Lockyer, chipping over the top. He rolls it in behind Schifofsky. Kick's too big. And the Raiders will get it from the 20-metre line. They have picked up some big metres once again in that set of 6.
Well, they have. That looks ominous signs for the Raiders. The Raiders really have to improve their go forward. They can't just try and play for time, because if they do, the Broncos, they've got too many classy players. I'd just like to see them try and get that quick play the ball. The Broncos, when the Raiders do that, they look slow on their feet, and the little guys are having all sorts of luck around that middle of the park.
They need 5 good hit-ups here and a booming kick to play the Broncos down inside their 20.
Wolford Tackled by Corvo. It's Finch. Put it away to Colella. Only a couple of metres apart around the ruck there. Fires a ball away. That was a poor pass, and now Prince picks it up for the Broncos. And they're just 10 metres on their own side of halfway. The Raiders can't afford to let them score in this set of 6. And the floodgates might really open over these final 10 minutes or so. Here's Pritis. Comes to Myers. To Vico. A good tackle down low to stop the second rower. Lockyer to DeVere. Good hands down low as he offloads to Justin Hodges. Again, DeVico is there to make the tackle. A lot of work in defence now. They need to. Shane Walker. Corvo back to Walker. Prince gives it to Chris Walker. Oh, stepping behind Scott Prince. Tony Archer says there was no Shepherd there. Perhaps because no Raider player was up in the face of Chris Walker trying to get to him. He made the ruling that way. Here's Lockyer now cutting behind one of his own players. He'll get to the line once again, but we might hear more about this. Tony Archer looks to his touch judges.
Yeah, mate, no, I'm happy with Burns.
He's happy about the decoy run from Darren Burns, and Lockyer crosses once again. 26-24, the Broncos, a kick to come which could tie it up. I want to look at that one again though.
Yeah, well, I'd like to have a look at that as well. It did look like there was some obstruction there. He did double around. We'll see here, we see Burns running a straight angle. DeVico dropped off, but everyone just went to sleep. They didn't play the whistle, and that's what you got to do. You can't afford to drop off. The Raiders did, and Lockyer was there to take full advantage of it.
No communication by the Raiders defence. Obviously, Lockyer just a little turn of pace. He seizes a forward there, throws the dummy, gets on the outside of the forward, and was always going to make it when it became a foot race.
There was no problem from that particular angle there. No Raider was impeded trying to get to Darren Lockyer as Burns flashed through with the decoy and dropped off the man with the ball in his hands. Here's again here. Certainly gave the impression that he might have run behind Darren Burns, but you saw DeVico couldn't foot it with Lockyer, and Anthony Colella also unable to pick up the flying fullback. 3 tries now in the last 7 minutes for the Broncos. What was a 16-point lead might now be about to vanish completely. What would they be thinking up high there? The brains trust of Meninga and Elliott. How quickly things can change when you're playing the Brisbane Broncos. Michael DeVere and close to converting earlier try of Chris Walker from wide out. Shaved the right hand upright. This one more easier kick for him, being a right footer. Either way, whether he kicks it or not, we've got an enthralling final 10 minutes coming up here. Momentum really sucked at the Raiders' efforts. DeVere strikes it beautifully, and we are all locked up at Bruce Stadium. What a kick from the New South Wales centre. 26 plays 26, and we've got just on around in this game. Michael DeVere, a pressure kick, and he has potted it from almost the sideline. The Raiders, can they stem this flow of points? 16 in the last 9 minutes the Broncos have scored.
Well, I know we praised Darren Lockyer for his performance in this first State of Origin game, but in the last 15 minutes he's really stood up for the Broncos. He's led the way. He's been captain. Gordon Tallis has been off the field, and geez, he's a wonderful player. He's really stamping himself as one of the greats of this game.
There is Corvo. Slow to play the ball down. Pritis now goes almost through the middle of the ruck. Wolford slipped over. Terry Martin grabbed him by a fingernail. Harrison turns it back. Comes to Saylor. Pushes away from DeVico's tackle. They're just 38 metres out from this Raiders line. Here goes Lockyer now, stepping away from one. Chris Walker chipping over the top. Regathers. Almost got away from Alan Tung's tackle. Here's Finch now. Picks it up. The Raiders have hung on. They needed 2 in that set of 6. And they have Tallis and Webke. Best in the business almost. Waiting to come back onto the field for the final 8 minutes here. One final assault. There's DeVico. Floating for Kallela. He's tackled just short of the halfway line. Wolfen now comes to DeVico. A lot of work in defence. Hasn't been able to stop this avalanche of points coming from the Brisbane Broncos. He'll play it back to Kallela. He looks very tired, DeVico, out there. Here's Tongue now. Hutchison goes forward. Try and roll him onto his back, and they're successful in doing so. Couple of tackles left in this set of 6. Tongue will use one up as he takes it down towards the Brisbane 20. Last tackle, what's the option? Do they go high to the air or roll it into the in goal? Perhaps a field goal. Here's Finch. He struck it pretty nicely, but it hooks wide. It's a pretty good kick from Brett Finch from good range as well, just outside the 30. Just a little bit wide.
Gee, I think it was a bit early days to be starting that. Still 8 minutes left in the clock. I thought they could have taken it down and got the Broncos camped inside their own 20-metre zone or own 5-metre zone and make them go all the way. They've got to tire them out. Remember, 10 of these guys have played a game of football. The Raiders haven't. They should have the fresher legs.
DeVere will play it back to Pritis. Comes to Webke, who's back out there now with Gordon Tallis. Pritis all showing it on the inside for Darren Burns, who couldn't hang on to it. The Raiders a great chance once again here. Will they work it for a field goal one more time? Tongue. It's just inside the 40. They've got plenty of tackles to get it closer. Here's Kallela. He just bumps it forward. They might look for one, but they might end up with 6 in doing so. Wolfen now. Comes to this left-hand side. Jason Croker tackled at the 20-metre line. Finch is poised, one off the ruck. Perhaps not this one. He'll go to his right-hand side. Hutchison showing it. Finch backing up, is there now with the ball in his hands. Offloads to Schifofsky. He's just 15 metres out. Finch goes quickly back behind the line, looking for it now. Wolfen tries to find him. Goes himself from dummy half. Gets to within 4 or so metres, got it back to Schifofsky. He's crunched by Webke, flips it backwards to Finch, who thought about a field goal. He gives it back to Nagus. He grubbers it now, couldn't get there. Darren Burns is there to clean it up with one other. It's Shane Walker. He tries to go again. They'll get 6 more tackles, the Raiders. Gordon Tallis, barely out there a couple of seconds, has picked up from where he left off, giving Tony Archer 14 or 15 earfuls.
Gordy. He's a passionate player. He's certainly the most damaging forward in the game, if not the best player at the moment running around. But the Raiders get an opportunity. They've got to work it downfield and look for this one.
Well, there's one tackle. They almost scored when they were trying to set up for a field goal last time, and now they're just 30 metres out. Less than 5 minutes left. Wolford turns it back for Todd Payton. They're in great range again if they want the 1 point. What do you want, Laurie Daly? 1 or 6?
Go one more ruck and then go the 1.
Here is Finch to the left-hand side. Turns it back in for Ruben Wiki. Finch is ready again. Wolford at dummy half.
Sorry, Warren. Great field position for the 1.
They give it to Alan Tongue. Looks for options, floats it across. He goes a long way from the goalpost. Here's Ken Nagus, only just hanging on to it. And now they're very wide. It's a difficult one for Finch. He's got a rampaging Brisbane lineup in his face. He decides not to go for the 1 point. Crossfield bomb. High to the air. McClendon goes up for it. So does Saylor and brings it down. They didn't get the field goal attempt away. They decided to go wide on the 5th tackle. It cost Finch really any realistic chance of getting the field goal away.
Well, they've just got to make sure they muscle up here in this set of 6 and put a lot of pressure on Darren Lockyer when he goes to kick the football. They've got to be also aware that Prince may kick the football. Shane Walker.
Lockyer gives it to DeVere as Hodges cutting back inside him. He's wrapped up by Ken Nagus. That's the 4th tackle, 3.5 minutes left. 26-26 still here between the Raiders and the Broncos, live on Fox Sports. Burns, it comes to Lockyer, chipping for himself. It wasn't a great chip, taken, plucked out of the air by Todd Payton. Might have been a good thing for the Broncos. It was the front rower and not Finch or one of the flyers who picked it up.
Well,
Here's Wolford. What do they do now, Laurie?
Well, they've got to go for the one, Warren. They've got to work towards the posts. And I think Shafosky might be the man who'll take the one. They should stand Finch or Shafosky either side of the ruck, but they've got to get the momentum forward.
Tongue comes away to Kallela. He gives it away to Ruben Wiki. He comes back towards the post, dumps it backwards. Rutchison gets there. Wolford points towards the post, says, please go that way. Here's Finch offloading it. McClendon cleans up. He comes across field. Hangs onto it and takes the tackle now. That's 4 tackles gone. They've got 2 left. Lalessi gives it to Croker. He shows it. Runs with it in both hands. Wolford at dummy half. Points to Shafosky. They've got Finch back there as well. Finch gets it and kicks a shocker.
Well, you always knew that was going to be the case. The Raiders, they fumbled around. They went the wrong way. They didn't work for any field position to go for the 1 point. I can't believe that they've missed that opportunity. Up as Hodges
almost gets away. Finch made perhaps a try saver, even though he was a long way from the try line. Here's Walker now at the halfway line. Tries to play it quickly. It comes back to Prince. Here's Tallis. He gives a ball to Lockyer, who has already scored 2 in the second half. Now De Vere is tackled. 30 metres out. Do the Broncos go for a field goal? 3 tackles left. Tallis now storming down that blind side. They've got 2 tackles left. Hodges at dummy half. Here's Shane Walker at first receiver. Comes back to Mark Corvo. That's the last tackle. Prince is there waiting for it. So is Lockyer. Wolford gets up into his face. Now Lockyer steadies himself. Takes his time and hits the post. Off the post. He tried to break the deadlock and went within a post width of doing so. Now Finch. 26-26. It's almost exactly the same situation he had against the Newcastle Knights, and once again he was going for the kick to try and pick up the scrum downfield, and only Tony Archer saying wait, stop him from doing so. He was going to take the odds to it again. Great to see.
I think he was G'ing up though, Warren. I think he was G'ing up, but it was good work by the Raiders. They tried to harass Lockyer. What do? Do we try and score a long range field?
Here's Nagus. Well, it might be a field goal. They might go for the long-range try. 38 seconds left. We're still tied up. Shafosky has it in his hands. Tries to keep it alive. Does so. Tongue away to Croker. Here's Payton with it. Tries to hold off the Broncos. He's lost the ball. Tony Archer says play on. And here is Chris Walker going to score the try that wins the game for the Broncos, perhaps. Wayne Bennett leaps to his feet. Such emotion from the Brisbane coach.
Hang on. I just want to check whether it's raked out, punter. No, not yet.
Tony Archer wants to take a look at it with the video referee Ian Parnaby. The ball came loose. Here is Payton in the tackle that came out there. Scott Prince was in around the ball. Payton appealing for 2 in the tackle. He believed that the ball was stripped out. That angle there wasn't a terrific one to see it. Now here is Prince. Goes in down low. His right arm around the football there. Here it is. This angle here might show it. Looked as if Prince was trying to reef it out. That angle there gives you plenty of suggestion that that's exactly what he did.
Well, he has pulled the football out. You can see, his hand, he's in under the football from the other shot, and then he comes out with it. This is going to be a penalty to the Raiders. They're going to get an opportunity to kick the touch and have a long-range field goal attempt.
Ian Parnaby wants another look at this particular angle here. You can see Payton trying to shield the ball away from Scott Prince. He gets that right arm hooked around the top of the ball. Darren Burns comes in to help in the tackle, and then the ball comes loose. Here's a piece of play leading up to the particular incident. Shafosky went forward. It came from Tongue. Matthew Elliott looking on. Well, everybody here waiting and waiting. Spry, penalty to the Raiders. Chris Walker thought he had scored the game winner. Now we have 16 seconds left. In fact, time has been blown back on. And so the clock is ticking. We have 5 seconds left now. Finch will get the kick in. In fact, there's the siren going on the stroke. As the clock ticks down to 0, they'll get one chance for a field goal. Wolford wants them back to 10. Shafovsky is there as well. He gets it from 38 metres. He strikes it beautifully, but it is waved away. Waved away after the bell. And the Canberra Raiders have fought out a 26-all draw with the Brisbane Broncos. Quinn Shafovsky struck it so beautifully and could have won the game after the bell. What a finish that was. Will come to Rutchison, who will hit it back out into the teeth of his Bulldogs defence. Britt up there making the first tackle. They go to the left-hand side. Play it at their 20. Hodgson comes back to the left again, where Rutchison gets his second hit up of the game in the first 3 tackles. Important for the Raiders to get a solid start to this game. Tongue now will shift back to the lock forward position with Croker out of the team tonight. Finch gets the kick in, finds Luke Patton right on the chest, who did not have to move a boot.
Well, not a bad start by the Raiders. That's exactly what they've got to do. They've got to play out their sets of 6 without making any mistakes. Once they get inside the opposition's 20, then they're a chance to work, but they cannot afford to hand it up on a plate to the Bulldogs, because the Dogs, they're hungry.
Here's Britt going across the halfway line. Pollamouta hands it back. It comes to Barry Ward, who pops a pass over the top to Darren Smith. He turns it to Vungana. Pollamouta again through Hughes to his brother. Now Patton gives it off to Willie Tillau, to Brett Howland, back in the top grade after spending some time in First Division. Here's Sherwin chipping over the top. Players racing through, including El Masri, but getting back to clean it up. Wolfram was bundled back into the in-goal area, and the Raiders will have to drop it out from their own line.
Yeah, great chase by the Doggies. A real bit of vision there shown, getting the kick away, and then they just converged on him. I thought it almost stopped in the field of play, but momentum carried him. Here's the kick. It's a beaut kick. He kicks it into space, and there's plenty there. It's a foot race. Not a great deal in it. And the slide. There's the second effort right at the death. I think it was a bit unlucky.
Here's Ward again, gathering steam as he came towards them, but a solid tackle. Terry Martin was there. Britt comes up towards the Raiders 20. They go to the right-hand side. A bad pass from Pollamouta. It was intended for Sherwin. And now Vungana has to go back the best part of 15 metres to clean it up. Still standing in the tackle. Rutchison finally drags him to ground. 2.5 minutes gone here. No score still at the showground. Here's Ward again. 4 hit-ups already for him. Ricky down low making the tackle. Through Hughes, through his brother Glenn. Last tackle, still outside the Raiders 20. It's been a great set of 6 for them. Hughes it is. Goes high to the air this time. Chance for El Masri once more. He didn't get to it. The ball came backwards off the hands there of Sione Faumuina. And it will land with the Raiders. They'll work it away from inside their own 20 again.
Well, that was a great defensive set by the Raiders. They kept their line, they kept moving up, and defensively the Raiders have been pretty good this season. It's been with the football where they've struggled. We mentioned earlier about their ability to put points on the board. The Dogs, they do miss plenty of tackles in their first up efforts, but it's been their scrambling defence that's kept them in the game all year. As we see a serious injury, another one.
4th tackle. See, the Raiders just can't take a trick killer. The right knee, it doesn't look good.
Michael Hodgson is the player down. Former Parramatta Eel, of course. His first season of football with the Raiders, and they can ill afford to have another forward out of action due to injury. They've had a terrible run in recent times. Darren Britta was down low, who made the tackle. And you can just see the knee there. Oh, that's nasty. They never look good. Normal motion or replay, and that would be terrible stuff for the Raiders in this game, and well, their bad luck just continues.
Well, the bad luck, and it's in the one position where the Raiders are struggling, as Darren Porter, the 29-year-old, gets his first taste of top grade. And what a moment this will be here in this guy's career. He's been playing local footy up until this year. He's played first division for the Canberra Raiders, and he gets his opportunity with the Raiders struggling for numbers in the front row. We wish the young, or can't say young fellow, but we can wish him all the best. And Hodson is a good young player. He's had a lot of terrible luck with injuries. He hurt his shoulder in the pre-season game. He came back about a month ago. Now he's gone down with a knee injury. It looks to be a serious one.
Yes, the tragedy continues as far as injuries go for the Canberra Raiders, but we're going to see Darren Porter come onto the field, one of the oldest debutants in the NRL, perhaps the NRL has ever seen, or at least equal to it. But what he's done, he's been playing some first division football. He won man of the match last week. He was spotted by the new coach, Matt Elliott. I think Elliott looking to place a bit of a stamp on the club. Chose to go with him. A bit of a gamble, but gee, he's been just thrown straight in. No chance to acclimatise.
We went through the list of injured Raiders before the game started, and I didn't fancy there'd be another name added to that list with only something like 3.5 minutes gone here in this game against the Bulldogs. It would appear that Michael Hodgson won't be back in this game, you would think, and the Raiders will be a man short as far as their bench goes for pretty much the entire 80 minutes. Let me put some pressure on them now. Finch with a better kick this time. The gap between Howland and Patton, and Howland has to go all the way back to his own goal line almost to retrieve it.
Well, I think that'll be part of the tactics. They're not quite as big as the Bulldogs up front. The Canberra Raiders will want to move the big men around. They'll want to have kicks like that, a nice long one that makes them turn and sprint back maybe 30, 40 metres to get back into the play. They've got to tire them out because they've got to try and match them physically and wear them down.
The ball came loose there in the tackle. Play on was the ruling from Mark Oaten as Britt turns side on as he comes to Ruben Wiki. The help of Nagus in there as well, getting in close to the action. Polomata midfield goes to his left-hand side where he finds Corey Hughes, puts a high kick in for Schifofsky. The Raiders have done well here in this particular set. They've got the ball. They're just 15 metres short of the halfway line.
Well, they've been very enthusiastic tonight, the Canberra Raiders, getting off their line, putting plenty of pressure on the Bulldogs ball runners. Their kicking game, Brett Finch, he's found space on a number of times.
I want both those blokes standing square, okay? Not beside each other.
Give away a penalty.
Some pressure early on here. The Bulldogs, one of the most penalised sides in the NRL. The Raiders give away very few penalties. Tongue will play it. About 18 out from the Bulldogs line. Hutchison goes forward. Gap closed between Darren Smith and Darren Britt there. Wolfie goes quickly, turns it back on the inside for Finch. Now Hutchison with the offload. Straight line from the Bulldogs, stops the halfback. About 8 metres out. Schifofsky in at first receiver. Gives it back for Porter. I think the first tackle there of Jamie Feeney. He plays it quickly as well. Wolford back to Schifofsky. He puts his head down, looks at the line. Did he get there? I think he might have. Mark Oden.
See if he got it down that first time.
He wants to see how long it took
I think other than that, he's going to be held up.
To get the ball on the ground.
Yeah, no, listen. I'm having a look for the grounding first time. Other than that, I think he's held up.
Well, you heard it. If he doesn't get the contact with the ground the first time here as he tries to put it down, he in fact lost the ball there. Might have regained it there. Well, it seemed to take an eternity, obviously, in slow motion. How long did it take in real time? Was there contact just there after he regained the ball before it made contact with the ground off the head of Patton?
Well, I think that's a try, Warren. I think that there he doesn't get it down, but when he rolls it over there, I think he might have touched the ground. It does take an eternity for him to actually find the ground. This will give us a better view.
Yeah, I think the second effort doesn't go down there. No, now, if he controls it there, here's where he stands there, bang. If that's the try, well, so be it. But I think that is the only time that he had the ball forced on the ground in goal. And whether the referee will do that in enough time, well, only the video referee can tell us that.
The video referee is Chris Ward.
But it's interesting though, Shafosky has moved in, playing a pivotal role already in this game. A couple of times he's taken the first pass, and even in position then to take the first pass to propel him towards the line. So
his decision.
a bit of a senior head coming into the back line, hoping to organise play inside the 20.
Chris Ward has a decision. Very close run thing, this one. A try to the Raiders. They will play from in front tonight against the Bulldogs.
Guys to have their fullbacks playing up in the front line, first and second receivers. And Shafosky in that set of 6 done it fantastically well. He got the ball, he took the ball to the line, coming off Wolford. He just ducked his head and was able to put the first try on the board for the Raiders.
Yeah, well, Laurie, what it gives him a bit of pace there. Early pace off the mark, and that's what got him through the hole there. Quick Shafosky up against a couple of big forwards, not too good at laterally moving side to side, and he went straight through the middle. Just that he was so quick, that's what got him home.
It just gives the Raiders another attacking option. I've noticed that over the last couple of weeks, a lot of fullbacks hanging around the middle of the ruck. They come in and play first and second receiver. It just takes a bit of pressure off the half and 5'8", and he is one of the most experienced blokes in this Raiders outfit, taking a bit of pressure off the younger guys.
His kicking has been good this year. Only had the 2 chances last week against the Warriors, but makes no mistake with this one. And the Raiders, very handy start for them, 6-0 over the Bulldogs with almost 8 minutes gone here at the showground. Kenny Nagus, one of the most experienced Raiders out there now, with the likes of Croker missing. There aren't too many Raiders surviving from their last grand final victory against this particular side back in 1994. Nagus is certainly one, the dwindling number. Here's Rutchison again. Some good work at this end of the field, bringing the ball back out for the Raiders against the Bulldogs.
Now in past matches, this is where the Raiders have fallen down. They've failed to complete their sets of 6 coming back from the try. They've almost worked it to the 40. They need one more tackle, one more hit up, and then they need to play it down the other end of the football field.
Finch gives it away to Nagus. Gets out Armstrong, dumps it back from McClendon. Comes away to Terry Martin, who's brought down and get a pass away though to Alan Tongue, who just gets across the halfway line. Down the short side, Falmawina. Rangy type, athletic, David Violecki type. Here's Brett Finch, got away from the first tackle. Comes back to Shafosky again, just waiting behind the play there. One pass behind, waiting for a ball. He gets a ball away now to Darren Porter. Taken over the top by Britt, who will get called out for a high tackle.
Darren, caught him high, mate. Hit him above the shoulder, take him down. It's a penalty against you, high shot.
Around about 30 metres out, we'll wait and see what the Raiders do if they attempt to take the shot at goal here for the 2 points. No doubt about the tackle, though. Not a lot in it, but certainly high enough for Britt to be penalised. And it will give Shafosky the chance to add another 2.
An easy shot for Britt coming across, swinging right arm, but I think penalty sufficient. You're dead right, Warren.
Spate of players, of course, placed on report in recent weeks. 4 high shots.
I think that might be a sign too, Warren, of the Bulldogs a little frustrated. They didn't expect the Raiders to come out with this enthusiasm and to matching it with the Bulldogs. I think that Darren Brick's taken it upon himself to say to the guys, hey, we've got to match this enthusiasm and aggression from the Raiders, and the captain leading the way.
And this kick about 15 metres in from that eastern touchline. No troubles with the distance for Shafosky. It would be a very handy start for them. 8-0 if they can pilot this one across. Struck beautifully once again, hooking, but just inside that left hand upright. Good kick from the fullback. Scoreline of 8-0 here. 11 minutes gone. Aaron Britt, chief executive of the Canberra Raiders, Kevin Hill, alongside him, coming back to the bench there on crutches. A great sign, and you would think that Hodgson won't be back, obviously, tonight. Here's Wolfram, coming from dummy half. Britt couldn't get him to ground. Wolfram made away pretty quick. Vegas as the ball jolted loose in the tackle. Talau turned it back for Patton. Did the fullback knock it on? No, he didn't, according to Marco. He says play on as Allen got back there to clean it up. There is Patton now. The Bulldogs, 43 out from the Raiders line. Polomata away to Darren Britt. Ball away as well. Sherwin it is who will play it now. Come back to the left-hand side. Hughes. Away to his brother Glenn. Good tackle by Ken Nagus on Jamie Feeney. There's Corey Hughes giving it off to Darren Britt. Popped the ball forward, straight into the arms of Alan Tongue. Trying to move it quickly from one side to the other. It worked early on last week against the Storm.
You're over the top too, Craig. No thanks, no thanks.
Craig Polomata too slow to use, to leave the tackle there. The 100th penalty conceded this season by the Bulldogs. Second most penalised side in first grade.
I would say the Raiders don't need much help. If they can get the penalty count on their side, it might be just enough.
A welter of penalties go their way last week, and they couldn't use them against the Warriors, but they're playing a bit more enthusiasm, a bit more purpose tonight here against the Bulldogs, although a miscommunication here. Bungana cleans it up, gets the ball back to Sherwin, and the Bulldogs looking to counter-attack straight away. Will play it at the 30.
Wait.
Penalises Terry Martin. They took a quick tap.
It's here.
Mark
I'll give him the mark first, and then he'll take it, okay?
Good thing perhaps for the Raiders.
What's up here?
Mark Oaten called the play back.
Do you want any help?
An injured player back downfield. Mark Oaten, though, says play on. And they'll have it from inside the 20. There is Nigel Vungana down with a knee injury, it also appears. Here's Barry Ward. They're tackling just outside the 10. And the Raiders hang on. First time the Bulldogs have been at this range. Here's Darren Britt launching himself at them. He's only a few metres away. Polomata goes himself from dummy half. All ready for him. Porter there with the help of Rutchison. Corey Hughes in the dummy half. Gives it off to Sherwin. It's back to Hughes now. Fires it to brother Glenn. He gives it back to Patton, who tracks back infield. He runs into Jamie Feeney almost. Pass that could have been forward. The Raiders appealed for a forward pass, but Oaten says play on. Polomata looking from dummy half. Penalty to the Bulldogs again. Polomata takes a quick tap and gets across the line to score.
Just hang on. He's in front of you. What we want to have a look at is the grounding, and also check to see if there was a player in front of it.
They want to take a look and see if somebody was offside when Polomata took the quick tap. He was at pretty close range when he took it. This angle here will show us the grounding. There it is. Well, was it short there? Did it continue on to end up on the line? I think it ended up on the line. This angle here will show us. Can't see there. No doubt about the ball being short and then rolled onto the line by Polomata.
He wasn't there, and he always steadies them as we take just another look. I think he banged down just a bit short. The second effort is here. Here's where it's short now to pull towards him. There it is. That's what I think the second effort is.
Now, let's take a look at this particular moment, which was when Polomata takes the tap. Was there a player in front of him? And that would, of course, would mean, here he is, with Feeney still in front of him. No doubt that Feeney was offside when Polomata took the tap, so there'll be no question mark now about the try being scored. It will be a no try.
That will be a penalty to the Raiders. Offside. He's taken the tap too quickly, Polomata. I think it would have been a no try anyhow with a double movement, but we'll wait and see what the video ref has for us.
A resigned look on the face there of Craig Polomata. I think he knows his fate. We wait for the official decision from the video referee, Chris Ward. He's had a busy night already. The scoring chances for both teams have required his input. No try to score was the story.
Because there was a bloke in front.
Well, I tell you what, it doesn't look good for the Raiders. This is the first time that the Dogs have been down there, and they just about crumpled. So it doesn't spell out a good song, a good tune for this Raiders outfit, let me tell you.
Tongue will play it. Willie Mason on. Nigel Vungana off with that knee injury. That will force a reshuffle for the Bulldogs. I think Darren Smith would move to the centres as Wolford goes down the field. Tackled by Willie Mason just over the halfway line. Here's McClendon now. He'll open up a gap in and around the ruck area. Wolford goes quickly from dummy half. Kicks over the top. Looking for the ball to sit down in the in-goal area. He won't. Fairly firm surface here at the showground. That one rolling easily over the dead ball line.
Well, they look dangerous, the Raiders, when Wolford can get out of dummy half, pick up his runners. He's got all the skills. That time the kick just going too far.
Here's Brett. Tackled by Darren Porter with the help of Reuben Wiki. Solid start for the debutant in his first chance to Lau. The player just short of the halfway line. Howland. One of the big off-season signings for the Bulldogs. Gets his chance back in the top grade again tonight. Pull him out of this time. To chip it over the top of Shafovsky, but he put across with good speed, the fullback, and now brings it back midfield. Run away from Corey Hughes, gets past him, ducking under players. He does it so often, beating 2 or 3 players as he brings the ball back. Almost a la Brett Hodgson, his teammate of last year at Parramatta.
Yeah, a lot of hidden leg drive for Shafovsky.
Rutgerson gives it away to Terry Martin. Just short of that 40-metre line. Wilford, give it off to Finch. So to Alan Tongue, they're away. Here's McClendon, and Brett Finch inside him finds Reuben Wiki. He'll try and keep it alive, but can't do so. A desperate tackle made by Willie Talau. It comes back to Finch. And Nasri raced up quickly out of the line. A long pass over the top to Terry Martin. Back on the inside for Rutgerson. He's just metres away. On the last tackle now for the Raiders. For their second try of the game, Wolfram gives it off to Wolford. He grubbers for the in goal. The kick again will be too big. A poor finish to a great set of 6.
It was a great set of 6 by the Raiders. They're having some success with short passes on the middle of the ruck, on the edge of the ruck, I'm sorry. That's where the Doggies have a lot of success with the likes of Britt scouting wide, but the Raiders are getting 1, 2, 3 passes strung together. They're finding holes in this Bulldogs outfit. I've got to give a rap to Sean Rutgerson. He's been outstanding in this first 15, 16 minutes for the Raiders, continually carting the ball forward, making a lot of yards.
I'd say the Raiders' attack is all about pace. They're putting pressure on the defence because they're doing things quickly, and that's why they're making such easy yards.
Darren Britt. Play it back to Polomata. Comes to Sherwin. Chips over the top, looking for himself. Good work from Alan Tongue, who shepherded Sherwin's run quite legally. And now Shafovsky was almost away again. A desperate tackle made by Corey Hughes. Here's Finch as the Raiders go on the counter now. Manuel wrapped up by his opposite number, Brett Howland there. Loading to the ground, McClendon. Comes back to Reuben Wiki, wrapping around to the blind side. Bounced away from a couple of players. It's an offloaded way as well to Nagus. Tries to hold off Mason. Here's McClendon. Got the ball back to Manuel. He can't beat Sherwin, but McClendon can. What a try by the Raiders. They work the short side down this side of the field, and they're in again. It's 12-0 over the Bulldogs.
Well, it was great work by Reuben Wiki, sensing that they were short on the short side. He come from the open to the short side. You see, they only had one marker. Bumps off a couple, gets a bit of second phase play happening. And when they can create second phase play, they've got dangerous players that can run the football. Nagus is one. This guy's another, McClendon. Then they give it to Manuel, does well. Howland comes again, tries to put him over the sideline. McClendon backs up, and this is a fantastic start for the Green Machine.
Yeah, the Dogs play a very flat line. Once there's a a whole lot of second phase play, which is what happens here that gives Nagus the room to go through, then they're in all sorts of problems. But gee, they kept a very cool head. That ball from McClendon, here's another cool head, simple pass back inside, was all about mature footballs. They may be only youngsters.
It's been sensational. I mentioned Hutchison, Wolford out of dummy half. When they can create a bit of a platform, he can get out and he can cause a lot of damage.
Shafovsky, an 84% success rate this year. Puts him in the top echelon of kickers. And this one from a pretty simple range. Great stunt for the Raiders. Will take them to a lead of 14 points to nil. It's been outmatched at the moment, this Bulldogs forward pack. Cast your mind back to round 2 though, the game between these two sides. The Raiders led 12-6 at half-time and looked very good in leading by 6 at the break, but were overrun. An awesome second half performance by the Bulldogs down at Bruce Stadium. Shafovsky sticks this between the posts as well. And what a scoreline we have here at the showground. The Raiders, winless in their last 5 games, lead the Bulldogs 14 points to nil.
14 points is never, make sure that they get their first up tackles, their point of contact, they've got to wrap the football up, and also they've just got to hang in there and wait for the possession to turn around. The Raiders have dominated this part of the game.
Here is Hutchison. Brings it back out towards the 20. Raiders, 3 line breaks. The Bulldogs 0. Nagus tracking across field. See those missed tackles as well for the Bulldogs. 13 off on this Porter. Takes it up to the 30-metre line. Wolford has Tongue outside him. Gives it to the second rower. Polomata was up quickly to Tongue. Another offload. Really has developed that facet of his game, especially this season. Steve Reardon is out there with Jamie Feeney off the field. Hutchison is picked off by Barry Ward from marker. Finch with the kick. Drives it down towards Luke Patton again. He finds the fullback. He picked him out with the first kick of the game, and he's done it again on that occasion. Patton was able to bring it back outside the Bulldogs 30. Reardon. A great pass to El Masri. Darren Smith outside him at the moment. Here is Reardon. Alan Tongue. Corey Hughes. Good hands at first receiver. Away to Willie Mason. Oh, across the top of Finch, and he's still going. How can you stop him? He is awesome with the ball in his hands. He puts his mind to it. He takes them deep on the attack. Here's Sherwin again, rubbering for himself, but Shafovsky once again saves the day. What a run from Big Willie.
Well, Big Willie, that's what he's been doing. He's been targeting the littler guys. I'm sure Brett Fitz, the message will go out from the coaches to move around in that defensive line. Don't stay in the one spot for too long, because Mason will pick you out. He's been defending on the right side. He's got to move to the left. He's got to get him behind the line. He's got to make it difficult for the Bulldogs to spot him.
Yeah, simple game plan from the Dogs. It's just called Free Willie, and that's what they'll be looking to do, just trying to put him in the space every time.
That's a flop. No, that's a flop. He was already on the ground, then you've come in second time. Flop against him there.
The second time, Craig Polomata has been penalised in this game for infringement around the play of the ball.
Alan Tongue talked to him on the 10. They're going to get back to me all day.
So Polomata there. It's the second man in. The tackle has already been affected on Brett Finch, who came on the last tackle as well. Great chance for the Raiders once again to extend this lead they have. Here's Terry Martin into Steve Reardon. He's just outside the 20. Wolford lost his feet, tended up there with Reardon. For the moment, Oaten says play on. Here's Tongue again, spinning and offloading through Finch. Comes away to Darren Porter. He puts the head down, and Corey Hughes hung onto him by a fingernail. Otherwise, he was going to be away. McClendon. Ball away to Alan Tongue, who was hitting it at speed. He coughed it up, and Patton just dishes it off. Hazem El Masri. Enterprising play once again by the Raiders. The passes might have stuck on that occasion.
Down again. Get off him.
And now they give up a penalty as well. Much needed one by the Bulldogs. The kick isn't a good one, and Schafowski bats it back in field and will keep it in play. What a piece of work from the fullback. They tried to bite off too much with the kick, and Schafowski was athletic. Nagas has knocked it on there.
Oh, what a disappointment, because we just saw a little bit of artistry from that man, Quinton Schafowski. And that's just what their whole game's about, the Canberra today. They're so enthusiastic. Take a look at this. He's inside the field of play. He leaps, gets the tap back in. Fantastic stuff. Brett Finch back there to support, and then they just bring it all undone.
Here come the Bulldogs. And they break their duck. 15 minutes left in the first half. Here's Rauhihi. Coming off the bench again tonight, recalled from First Division with the omission of Stephen Price from the front row. Darren Brett is 15 metres out. Pollamata has options to his right-hand side, comes back to the left shoe and runs at them. Got the ball away to Mason, who was running at Wolford. It was in fact Rauhihi who was going at them quickly. He has coughed it up, and the Raiders survive again.
It's a simple game plan by the Dogs. You just saw it then. First it was Brett, then it was Rauhihi, and they had Willie Mason next time to go on the other side of the ruck. They're looking to use their three big men to form a wedge into that defence, and then they're going to try and operate off that.
Here's Darren Mapp. Takes it forward. In fact, it's Ryan O'Hara out there on the far side for the Raiders.
Former Bulldogs junior, Warren. They had a big opinion of him last year. He's only a young fellow. He's got plenty of potential. As Finch's kicking game has been superb tonight, he's found grass on every opportunity. It just gives the Raiders' defensive line time to get down there in the one line, so the Bulldogs can't put plays on tackle one.
Breeden takes it outside the Bulldogs 30. Going to win the tackle as well. Slows to play the ball down. Hughes will play it to Darren Brett. There's a lot of minutes. He's tackled at the halfway line. No tackles left in this set of 6 for the home side. Corey Hughes showing it to Willie Mason, hang on to it himself. The Raiders weren't about to fall for the dummy. Sherl kicking over the top. This will be too big.
Hand over.
The poor moments with the boot.
Where are we going here?
The Raiders have it back in good position, just their own side of the 40-metre line.
Yeah, it's not what the Dogs were looking for at that time. And Sherwin, unfortunate for him, he kicked the ball out in the full. He's a guy that he looks dangerous with the football tonight, Brent Sherwin. He causes the Raiders some damage every time he's got the footy in his hands, and I'm sure that the defensive line of the Raiders have to be careful because he can cut you apart.
Falmawina. Back to Wolford. Clinton. Flat pass for Wiki. They did well to Lau and Hughes combining to stop him. And here's O'Hara. Runs it the teeth of the defence. Rauhihi and Mason there stop him. Wolford. Short ball. Got crunched. He got the pass away. The ball came away to the Bulldogs as well. Surprised to see Wolford bounce back to his feet as quickly as he did. Got smashed in the tackle. Rauhihi takes it to O'Hara. Wolford, of course, has had plenty of trouble with shoulder injuries in recent times. Maybe perhaps carrying that right arm at the moment as he takes his place back in the defensive line. Here's Mason. Didn't have much pace when he took the ball. It was an easy target on this occasion for the likes of Porter and Martin. Pollamata gets the kick from dummy half. Schafowski once again will try and bring it back and beat a couple of tackles. Got away from Darren Smith. Very rare occasion that the first man gets him. Wolfgram now. Punts it outside that Raiders 20-metre line. Just under 12 minutes left in this first half. The Green Machine controlling the game, doing a terrific job in defence. Clinton. Back for Nagas. Manuel. An offload to Wolford. Numbers there for the Raiders, but the Bulldogs' defensive line was a pretty straight one. little bit unhappy about the tackle. I think there might have been a higher shot in there. Rutgerson gets a ball back to Nagus. He gives it back to McClendon. Here they go again. One-on-one with Luke Patton. He turns it back for Rutgerson, who's brought down from behind. Terrific piece of cover work from Darren Smith. They have to go left, and they do. From O'Hara, away to Finch. A ball on the outside for Terry Martin. Dumps it back for Alan Tubb. He gives it back to Wolfram. Now it comes to O'Hara. He offloads it to Faumuina. Still it's a line. There's a whistle in there.
Hand over right there. Pick it up and play it with your foot.
Called
10 metres, 10
forward
metres.
pass, did he, or the tackle? It was a very quick call of held if it was. It must have been for a forward pass, but I failed to see where there was one.
Yeah, I think he called it for a forward pass. The Raiders, their offloading skills tonight have been superb. They're creating the second phase play. The Bulldogs, they're ineffective in their first up contact, which is allowing the Raiders to unload the football. We spoke about it earlier. They've got players that can do damage in open play. They're very quick on their feet, and that's an area that the Bulldogs have to improve.
There's Corey Hughes. He'll kick in over the head of Shafovsky. Track it down about 5 metres out from his own line. And he gives it off to Manuel. The Raiders side has only 5 players from their starting 13 from this corresponding game in round 2 at the moment, holding off the Bulldogs. 14 points to nil as their captain. Wolford goes back to the bench, and Andrew McFadden is out there. Finch gives it off to Alan Tongue.
Well, a danger time now that they've got the 2 Macs on the football field. Two of the best attackers in the club.
Faumuina away to Wolfgram. A chance down that left-hand side for a second before Reardon made the tackle. Here is McFadden to Finch. Got away from Mason. Back to McClendon again, who's running in Will now. Gives it back to McFadden. Oh, great try by the Raiders. They are turning it on, and they have stunned this Bulldogs crowd.
Well, it all comes about by the second phase play that the Raiders are able to create. And this time it was a ball to McClendon, who hit the hole. They're having success on the edges of the ruck. The Bulldogs, they get a bit wide in the defensive line, and that enables some short passes with guys hitting the holes to be successful, to find some gaps. And this time McClendon, beautiful on his feet, links up with his partner in crime, McFadden, who's just come onto the football field, and that's a wonderful football try.
Now the Dogs' defence haven't shown enough respect for the Raiders' attack. That is quite simple. But the 2 guys that take the ball to line, at this part of the game when there's only 10 minutes left on the clock, the big men are tired. The little steppers like the 2 Macs, McClendon and McFadden, they can move laterally from side to side. The big men, well, their reflexes are down a bit. At this stage of the game, they are tired. And that was a very shrewd move by Mal and Matthew Elliott to get, their 2 best attacking players on near the death of this first half from the opposition side. And they did it, and they've reaped the rewards.
Well, they keep getting McClendon into open spaces. Back on the bench. It's not a happy sight for Nigel Vungana. 3-try hero last week. He spent the majority of this first half on the sideline. You can see Shafovsky second only to Jason Taylor as far as goal kicking this year. He keeps getting chances from this close. The percentage will head north all the time. This one right across that black dot as well. What a scoreline we have here. Do not adjust your sets. 20 points to his shoulders. In recent years in the top grade, see guards on both biceps there as well. I'd like to get him back out there. Of course, they've already lost Michael Hodgson for this game. They can ill afford to have Wolford out of action as well, and just 2 men on the bench for the remainder, even though they do lead 20 points to nil. Rutgerson, in the absence of DeVico and Payton, he's been terrific. Finch going himself. He's tackled 10 short of the halfway line. 3 tries to the Raiders. And they've looked great in doing it. Terry Martin showing it. And that right arm cocked again, looking for yet another offload for the Raiders. McFadden from dummy half. Away to Shafovsky. They come down the middle of the park again. Rutgerson standing. He'll offload or try to. He can't get it away. And he's tackled just outside the Bulldogs' 30. 6 more tackles touched by a Bulldog. Another full set of 6 to work in here for the Raiders. McFadden waits. Another try. And a handful of Raiders fans here would be absolutely doing handstands. Here's Nagus. Almost split the gap there between Mason and Britt. They keep it alive again. McFadden got it back to Finch. Desperate tackle off the boot. The ball's still alive. They'll get 6 more tackles. They are trying at will now to score a 4th try.
Well, it is the Raiders. I haven't seen them play this good this year. They're just keeping the ball alive at every opportunity. The Bulldogs, they aren't wrapping up the ball carrier. They're having a lot of success creating second phase play, and they're having a lot of success with passing, stringing 2 and 3 passes together. The Bulldogs' defensive line, they get a bit wide as you go out, and they're having a lot of success doing that.
The dropout isn't a good one. It's Falmawina who will bring it back close to the Bulldogs' 20 when he's tackled there on the first. 5 minutes left. McFadden. Short ball away for O'Hara. He's just 12 metres out. In front of the post. Here's Hutchison going quickly from first receiver. Almost split the gap there in behind the ruck. What a great game he's having. Here's McFadden again. Hutchison slow to get back to his feet. McClendon comes back to Finch. Ball back on the inside for Wiki, who will go very close. Still trying. They think he's got there. Marco says no, he didn't. In fact, he knocked the ball on over the line.
Well, he's very confident, Oaten. He said no try as the Bulldogs trying to get a quick restart. The crowd trying to force a penalty on Oaten, but the Bulldogs, they did really well there to defend their line. The Raiders were building plenty of momentum.
Here's Polomouta turning it back now for Mason. Rolls it backwards for Polomouta, rugby union style. Here is El Masri getting crushed now. Strong tackle by Ruben Wiki. Rauhihi. So important, you get the feeling, for the Raiders to hang on here in this final 4 minutes and keep the Bulldogs scoreless.
Come on, drag it back, don't go early.
Up in front of Mark Oaten on this occasion. Polomouta will kick for the sideline. Gave away an important try just before half-time against the New Zealand Warriors last week. See what happens here. Here's Barry Ward. Takes it inside the 10. Sims, 1 in 17, goes to dummy half. Hughes gives it back to Rauhihi. Not too far away from the line, a metre or so. Hughes comes back to Sims. He fires a pass to Polomouta. Turns it back inside for Redden, who puts it down. The Raiders have hung on again. Awesome defence in this first half. Just scintillating attack.
Well, it's been good because they've been able to dominate possession. When they've had the ball, they've treated it with respect. They've created second phase play. The Dogs, on the other hand, when they've had the football, they're trying to play catch-up. They're trying to force the pass. They're playing that flat style of game, and the Raiders are meeting them and putting pressure on. And they're coming up with errors.
Alan Sung, another offload. Got it back to Darren Matt. Former Bronco is tackled 5 short of the halfway line. Here's McFadden now. He will kick from dummy half. Pat go back inside his own 10. 2.5 minutes left in this first half. Dragged down by Wiki. Kicking game for the most part. Has been very good. Here's Talau. Just 10 short of the halfway line. Outplayed, out-muscled in this first 40 minutes, the Bulldogs. Still a couple to go, though, as Mason tries to create something. Could have easily been a penalty there. Pushed back to the ground as he got back to his feet. Here's Howlands. Suddenly, the Bulldogs are playing like the Raiders did last week against the Warriors.
Well, they're frustrated, the Bulldogs. They're trying things. They're just not coming off. The Raiders have had every bit of luck go their way, but they're competing. They've been very enthusiastic.
If he's going to do it to them, that'll penalise him as well.
The good part about the
country kid.
Yeah, like all of us, mate.
I think he was like that.
Just fall there.
And Mark Oaten along with
Heads in. Don't stay in.
the Bulldogs forward pack, gasping for breath. Last chance, you would think, for the Raiders. Just over a minute left in this first half. Or Alan Tongue might have got a little bit of work over the top there from Steve Reardon, and Tongue takes off after him as well. But they put one on the chin there of Steve Reardon. That might get a look at later in the week by the judiciary. Here's Luke Patton. Tongue certainly unhappy about it. Appeared to be a forearm or an elbow from Reardon over the top as Tongue was laying on the ground. Here's Ward playing it. Hughes gives it off to Mason. Dixon is hanging on to that right leg. Comes to Rauhihi. Met by Wiki. Has got away from his tackle.
I can't slack it off now. They've hunted as attack the Raiders in defence. Only seconds to go.
25 of them as Polomata steps off that right foot. Comes infield where he's tackled there by O'Hara. El-Masri getting a dummy half. Short ball for Corey Hughes. It was forward and the Raiders will hang on and keep the Bulldogs scoreless in this first half. They just kept coming at them. Mason, Rauhihi and Britt have all been stopped time and time again. And Mark Oaten says that will do us for the first 40 minutes. The Bulldogs fans are unhappy. They've got no reason to be though, because the Canberra Raiders side has just outplayed their team.
Show us a bit of what got us here, a bit of toughness mentally and physically, and I'd be surprised if the Dogs don't start off 100 miles an hour in this second 40.
We mentioned at the start of the game, Stephen Folks, that of course was something of a danger game with the Raiders in such poor form, and he was well aware that they'd lost. Hadn't won for 5 games. They were due to turn it around, and with so many players out, so many experienced players with nothing to lose, they've really turned it on tonight. Sofosky gets us back underway. He rolls down for Luke Patton. He gives it off for Barry Ward, who beats the first tackle. Sims comes away to Rauhihi. As soon as they explode in this opening to the second half the way they did at Bruce Stadium earlier this year, here's Barry Ward again, taken to ground by McFadden. Polomata comes to Mason. Good one-on-one tackle made by the much smaller McClendon. And there's the hooker who gets the kick away from first receiver. Nagus cleared up as Sofosky in support, but just takes it forward and is tackled outside the 20. The Raiders this season, when leading at half-time, they have been in that position 7 times this year. They've won 3, lost 3, and drawn 1. Not before have they had a 20-point lead against the team this year of the Bulldogs calibre. Finch could have been penalised and will be.
You watch where you're swinging that too.
Shepherd,
that arm,
was going to offload the rush.
Swing an arm over the top. Watch where it's going, that's all.
Just danced around the back of him. A warning on the run for one of the Bulldogs. An arm over the top. Here they are now, just outside the Raiders 20. Well, he or brother Mason takes it up. Polomata. Give it off to Barry Ward, who runs a long way before he gets to the defensive line. McFadden was there to stop him. Polomata, to the right they come. Cut out ball for Patton, trying to step inside Alan Tongue. They stop him just a couple of metres away. El-Masri gives it to Polomata, Grubbers. There's Sofosky, cleans up. They'll force him in goal, and the Bulldogs will get 6 more tackles.
Stay behind it.
Well, the Raiders
back off it.
So far started just how they wanted in the second half. They cannot afford to give the Doggies any sniff at all. Solid defensive line there, saw out the 6. They're going to have to do it again though, and they're going to have to do it all this second half because the Dogs, all-out attack will come from them. They're 20 points behind. There's no other way.
Polomata fields it. Gives it off to Barry Ward. The ball in his hands a lot in this, his 100th first grade game. Rauhihi. So back to almost the Raiders 20. So important for them to hang on in these opening exchanges, you would think. Here's Hughes giving it to Mason. Another good tackle by McClendon on Mason. That's 2 already in the opening 3 minutes of this second half. Here's Corey Hughes coming back and giving it on his inside to Roy Sims. He's just 8 metres away. Great numbering up by the Raiders so far in this game, and again El Masri is crunched as he gets to the line. Last tackle for the Bulldogs. Sims comes to Hughes. Cut-out ball for Barry Ward. Gets it back to Darren Smith, and he just submits to the tackle there. Great defence by the Raiders.
It was great defence. They had to be strong on their line as we see Andy McFadden leaving the field with a hand injury. But this will be a good test for the Bulldogs here tonight. They're 20 points down at half-time. They can go to equal competition lead. The Raiders have got a number of players out, and we'll see whether the Bulldogs are genuine title contenders.
We saw a shot there of Andrew McFadden coming from the field, holding an arm or a wrist. He looks to be in all sorts of trouble and is being rushed back to the Raiders' room as the Bulldogs come up with a turnover. Here's Reardon. Desperate tackle made by Alan Tongue. Here's Darren Smith. El Masri fires a pass. It goes to Polomauta. Rauhihi spinning in the tackle. Back to Polomauta. The ball went forward and Wolford cleans up for the Raiders.
Yes, the Raiders survived their defence, acting with a lot of urgency there. That's one of the keys for them. They're getting off the line before these big men get loaded up. And I'm going to say the one-on-one defence by the Raiders, outstanding.
Here's Wolford. Mr. Nagus. There's almost a chance on this left-hand side for the Raiders had Nagus been able to get the ball away. Now Falmawina. So just outside their own 30. Wolford comes away to Alan Tongue. Short pass away to McClendon. Popped it. Tongue was held back.
Held off the ball.
He has been pretty much everywhere, Alan Tongue, held back on that occasion. It's a tireless performance from him tonight. So many offloads. Here he is just being grabbed by Rauhihi, taken out of it.
He wasn't grabbed by one player. There was 2 players holding onto the jumper.
Here we are, men. Wait.
The Raiders.
It's just in front
On
of
the
them.
attack for the first time in this second half.
110's this line here. Paul, get off, get off.
O'Hara. Finch comes back for Hutchison. Still going. Ward tries to drag him to ground. Eventually he does after Hutchison picked up an extra 15 metres. Wolford from dummy half. Comes back to Finch. Here's Wiki now. Schafowski dancing, looking for a way through and almost finds it. Wolford back to Darren Mack. Over the top for Wolfram, who almost got there, reached out and is held up in the field of play. Oaten says play on. It comes from McClendon. They were up very quickly off the line. He got it over the top though to Finch. To Nagus. Stepping off that right foot. He stands. Gets away from them. He's brought down just inside the 10. Wolford screaming instructions from dummy half. Has Wiki outside him. Second phase play. It comes to Finch. Great kick this time. So they force the goal line dropout. Suddenly, those last tackle options are working just as they weren't last week.
Well, they had to work on them this week, and they're playing a treat tonight, the Raiders. They're keeping the ball alive, and what it does when you create a bit of second phase play, you not only defend 6 tackles, you've got to keep coming up when they're offloading the ball. It feels like you've done 2 sets in a row. And the Bulldogs, they are renowned for a fit side, and they will have to be here tonight.
Here's Darren Mapp's short pass for Ryan O'Hara. Good tackle made by Glenn Hughes with the help of Rauhihi. Wolford, almost an intercept there by Reardon. Still over half an hour left. Plenty of time for the Bulldogs. But already signs that they know that they need to get something going, to create something here.
Well, the Bulldogs do, but the Raiders also know that 20 points is not a big enough lead. They've got their thought process has to be, we've got to be the next to score. They've just got to take that with them for the full 80 minutes. The Bulldogs, on the other hand, well, they have to be the next to score.
Finch. Way to McClendon, one-on-one with Polomauta, who was out of the scrum. Just the face there of Nagus and cleaned up by Manuel. Nagus. Wiki will play it. Just 12 metres out. Matt takes it forward. To offload. And Tongue lurking behind him. Here's Wolford again. Comes back to his right. Shafosky stepping off that right foot. Tackled by Roy Sims. He's just metres away. Wolford. Short pass again. Reardon rushes up and knocks it on once more. And he's given the Raiders 6 more tackles.
Well, this is just perfect for the Raiders, because what they're getting practice inside the 20-metre area, and that's what they need to do.
They're hanging on for the moment, the Bulldogs. We wonder for how much longer. They're down 20. The Raiders searching to make it 24, if not 26. Finch comes away to McClendon. Again, almost one-on-one there with Pollamouta. He's got away from the scrum to help him. And go from dummy half. All the way through for Finch. They'll play it back to McClendon. Wolford. Options. Finds Wiki. To players in motion close to the line. Fast play the ball. Comes to Alan Tongue. He wasn't quite ready for it. Circles around. Comes to Barry Ward, who cleans him up. Just inside that Bulldogs 10 still. Here's Rutchison. They stop him a couple of metres away. Wolford goes to his left-hand side. Finch to Falmawina on the last tackle. That pass was forward from the halfback to his centre. The Bulldogs have hung on.
Here, bring it back, wait. Now I'll give you 10 metres, okay?
Marco
just
wants the ball played on the mark. So they'll work the way. Masri there, brought to ground by Falmawina, who used a leg, but obviously had a hand in there as well. Marco finds the Raiders up inside the 10. A kick again, which doesn't find the line. They tried to bite off too much distance for the second time in this game. What a turnover that is. They've done so much work in defence. They finally get the ball and give it straight back to the Raiders. Stephen Folkes, his teeth will be powder up in the grandstands. O'Hara, 35 metres out. Finch goes to McClendon. Ball back in the inside for Wiki. The pass was a little bit too wide for the second rower. They've handed it straight back to the Bulldogs as well.
Well, I think what you'll find happened there, Warren, was Pollamouta. He tried to inspire his teammates by getting a quick kick away, but they've been doing so much defending. They were tired. He was also tired himself. You make some terrible decisions when you are tired. And tonight the Bulldogs have had to defend a lot, and the Raiders just creating a lot of second phase play and causing havoc.
Sherwin easily picked up a penalty there for his side. Here's Reardon. Comes back to Rauhihi.
Come on, Adele.
Pollamouta. The first receiver roll now. Ball came back to Barry Ward. Forward pass though to Brett Howard.
Yeah, it was close. It was close. It was close. I'm just watching. Ball's gone forward, yeah. Hey, leave it.
Charlotte Wolford didn't want the ball. He wanted a penalty as well.
Here we are.
Thought it might have been a deliberate forward pass. It was promising for Barry Ward, but he hit the open spaces. He knew where he needed to get it. And he threw it forward though, and getting it there. Darren Britt for the moment on the bench with Glenn Hughes also there. The captain looking on. They trail by 20. Here's Nagus. Offload again. Back to Falmawina. It's got a lot of territory across the park tonight, Nagus. Bobbing up on the left-hand side, the right-hand side. Here's Finch. Ball back for O'Hara, who bounced away from tacklers. Doing his own Willie Mason impersonation there for a moment. In fact, it was Darren Mack. Just outside the Bulldogs 30, Wolford in dummy half. Here's Wiki. that gap in behind the ruck. Sims hung on to him. Oh, Wolford was there ready to fire it to his right-hand side. That's where they go now. Looping past to Finch. He gives it to McClendon. He finds Nagus. Tackled by Terrell. Finch puts the kick in, but the pass from Nagus to Finch was forward again.
Mark him here.
Spade of forward passes suddenly in this game.
Well, the Raiders are at their best when they can get good go forward. Wolford getting out of dummy half, turning guys inside and out. And that's what they've been able to achieve tonight. They've had success stringing passes together. They're creating a lot of second phase play. It's been the most dominant performance I've seen by a Raiders side in a long time.
Since you were there, Laurie.
Terry, hold here.
Sims straight back to his feet. Now Sherwin gets this kick away over the head of Shafovsky. Got a pretty good bounce. It set up for him nicely. So the Raiders working away from inside their own 20 again, but they've been very effective inside their own territory tonight. Most notable, they've hardly coughed up any possession at this end of the field. McClendon circled around them and visions of going further downfield for a moment. Nagus again.
He has been strong tonight, Ken Nagus, Warren. Getting involved at every opportunity. He's playing right centre, and he's bobbed up all over the park tonight.
Here's Finch. He's kicking now from dummy half. Kick that will roll down and find the touchline. Oh, yes, it did. Howland watched it bounce and bounce and bounce. The Raiders will love that. Lead up some time off the clock, and they'll make the Bulldogs work from inside their own territory from a set play situation.
A very composed set of 6 by the Raiders there. They worked it for the 5, then put a kick in. And that was a great kick by Finch. It just found the right place as Darren Britt. They looked to get him on they'll move him on as soon as they possibly can. But it was just mature play by this Raiders side. That's what they need to show for the rest of the second half.
So Howland has it. Comes to Willie Mason. Apart from one run, it's been well handled by the Raiders tonight. They go again with Barry Ward down this short side, driven backwards. Terrific tackle by Wolfram with Falmawina over the top. He's a strong player, Falmawina. Sherwin. Cut out ball for Patton. Got away from the tackle there. Emmanuel, who was up looking for a big hit. McClendon stops him. Just inside Raiders territory. Last tackle now. Sherwin racing quickly. It's a kick off the side of the boot. The Raiders will just watch El Masri take it. He gives it back to Polomata. He puts a kick in. Shafovsky, who's just floated behind the play the whole way across the park on that occasion, is right there to field it once again.
He's had another fine game tonight, Clinton Shafovsky, but they've got to be careful, the Raiders. They've just got to keep continuing to do what's made them put points on the football, on the board. Promote the football, create that second phase play. Don't go into their shell and start looking at the clock, trying to wind it down, because the Doggies have just put on Darren Britt as Wolford
gets away and gives it back to Brett Finch. He turned Patton inside out. Here's Alan Tongue. They'll chop him down from behind. Try-saving tackle made by Brett Howland. Tongue will get back to his feet to play it finally. They'll go from dummy half, and Finch has got there. Mark Oaten checks with the touch judges. Yes, he says. That might be enough. 24 points to 0. What a piece of play. They went so far downfield from the bust. Here it is again, Wolford linked up with Alan Tongue, who looked likely to score for a moment there. Great work from Finch also to set it up.
Well, that's what they had to do. Don't go in their shell. There's still 22 minutes to go, and Wolford out of dummy half. He's one of the best in the business at doing it. Found Finch, who found Tongue. Then a quick play, the ball, Finch sums it up. The Bulldogs, they come up hard off their line. They get a bit wide in the defensive line, and Finch, too good, scores a good try.
I'm going to tell you, the Bulldogs' mark of defence is pretty scratchy. Wolford made the initial bust from dummy half, playing a real captain's game here.
The 19-year-old Finch picks up his 5th try of the year. And Schifofsky from right in front will make this an incredible scoreline. The Bulldogs came here tonight with a chance of joining the Knights and the Broncos on 21 points at the top of the competition table. And they are getting lapped at the moment. Schifofsky with the extra 2. And it is 26 to block here in favour of the Canberra Raiders over the Bulldogs. Just on 21 minutes left. We have seen some incredible finishes to games this year. Would necessitate savage mood swing to get the Bulldogs back in this game, you would think.
Well, it's been an embarrassing outing for the Bulldogs so far. Seldom in this day and age do sides fail to be on the scoreboard, and well, other than Polamatta nearly going over in that first half, they've been a little bit shaky in that area. You can put that down to some youthful exuberance up front and some great defence by the Canberra Raiders.
I think what's happened though, Russell, too, is the Bulldogs over the past couple of weeks, they have missed a lot of tackles as Finch again on 5th tackle decides to run it.
Has them. 6 more.
6 to go.
And 0.
They've missed a lot of tackles, but they haven't been made to pay for it. Tonight, they've missed those tackles, but their scrambling fence just couldn't come up again. The Raiders have just put points on the board.
Here is Wolfram just outside the Bulldogs 40. Piece of good fortune to get the 6 more tackles, and they will go deep in the Bulldogs territory again here. Here's Wolford showing it a couple of times before he gave it back for Hutchison. He's tackled 25 out from the Bulldogs line. Wolford looking left and right. Comes back to Brett Finch's side. Straight through them again. Looking for his second in a matter of minutes. Patton drags him down from behind. Here's Falmolina. He'll give it. Comes back through Darren Mapp. Way to Mark McClendon. He turns it back. Hara will take it there. In fact, was it Porter? It was Porter. He'll play it back for Wolford. Short ball for Finch, who got collared at the line. He's tackled there. That will do us on the turnover. The Bulldogs have hung on. They are still trailing by a huge deficit.
Yeah, I thought they really crucified the try there, the Raiders. Brett Finch had a man on the inside, Falmina, and didn't offload. Would have been a 4-pointer to shore, possibly a 6. If the game got wrapped up now, it certainly would have been.
Jamie Feeney, after Sims cleaned up the crumbs, takes it to the 20. Now Rauhihi, former Newcastle Knight, takes it just outside the 30. 18 and a half minutes left. And still they are yet to score. Britt, short ball. Coming back the way of Corey Hughes, but a good tackle down low made by Darren Mapp. Polamatta, he'll kick. Just on his side of the halfway line. Will skid into touch. They need to keep the ball in play at this stage of the game. Brent Sherwin being helped from the field. Going back, looks fairly dazed. In fact, they'll take him up the tunnel. Might also have a hand injury there. Polamatta's found touch and will force the Raiders into their scrum feed inside their own 20, but they need to keep the ball in play to keep the clock working for them.
Now, I'm sure that the Raiders would have been happy to see that ball go out over the sideline and choose up minutes on the clock for them. But they're playing so well tonight, the Raiders. And it's their young guys as well that have come up to the mark. I know they've placed a lot of faith in their ability this year. And at some stages, they haven't quite come up to the mark. But tonight, they're there.
Emmanuel. Play it back to Finch. Control things so well for such a young halfback tonight, Finch. And Nagus again. There's plenty of hit-ups at this end of the field. McClendon. Schifofsky trying to step in traffic. And he's wrapped up. Wolfram gives it off to Hutchison. The Wolford will have it on the last tackle. Gets the kick away. Over the head of Howland, he goes back to his own goal almost to pick it up. And Good chase from the Raiders again. 7 or 8 of them up there in a straight line. They are really buoyant at the moment. Rauhihi takes it outside their own 20. Polomauta comes to Darren Britt. He's just outside the 30. They're doing it tough at this end of the field. Hughes turns it back for Willie to allow. Wolford got barreled backwards on the tackle there. Willie Mason prepares to come back into action. Reardon will play it on the last tackle. El Masri going from dummy half. What can he start for them? Pass over the top. Found to Lau. Brett Howland. Oh, the pass was called forward. I don't know about it. Allen was scampering down the sideline with a bit of space still in front of him. I'm not entirely sure about this being called forward. Maybe just slightly forward. He was trying to get the arms out in front and drag the ball backwards to Lau. He said he doesn't think it was forward. Might have been only just. Wiki.
Well, that's the last thing that they wanted. This is the Canterbury Bulldogs side. The Bulldogs need possession to win this football match, and they just can't turn it over. Vice versa. The Raiders can't afford to give the Dogs any football. If they do, they're giving them a chance to get back into this game. There's still 15 minutes left. Okay, so it's a long shot, but they can still save some embarrassment.
They would need 5 converted tries. The Bulldogs, their biggest loss this year was by 28 points. And they were defeated here by the Broncos, 34 points to 6. That was back in round 7. This is a speaking of another kind tonight against a team that was a long way outside the top 8 coming into this game. They have played like one of the premiership frontrunners tonight.
There was their season on the line though, Warren, tonight. I know both teams had a lot to play for, but probably more so the Raiders. They knew if they lost tonight, then their season was gone. But they lived to survive. And if they can produce these type of performances, who knows?
We're just outside the Raiders 10. If there'd be any hope, they need to score right here. Here's Hughes. Turns it. Comes back for Rauhihi. Hasn't been able to break the line tonight. Good tackle once again by Porter. El Masri gives it off to Polomauta. Grubbers for the end goal. Nagus is safe and sure hands. He'll clean it up and be forced back into his own in goal. They'll get 6 more tackles coming up, the Bulldogs. But the Raiders continue to keep their line intact.
You can see the confidence in the Raiders players now. Polomauta putting the ball in the end goal, and Nagus, who has been everywhere tonight, that time hanging back as a winger, attacking the football, trying to pick it up and showing how desperate he was to get out of the end goal line. The Raiders want to try and keep this scoreline intact.
The last time the Bulldogs were held scoreless was against Penrith. It came to Stadium Australia early last year. Panthers won 26 points to 0 on that occasion. They're in danger of being shut out again here tonight. Hughes. Resort with the Greek plays. Can it get the Bulldogs going? Seems not much can at the moment. Pat Hughes comes away to Willie Mason looking for the line. The ball was raked out by Brett Finch. There were 2 in the tackle.
He pulled the ball in.
They concede a penalty. They may have stopped the try. Corey Hughes will take it back almost to the 10. Take the tap. Here's Britt. The ball comes loose. Strong tackle by Ruben Wiki. What a tackle. And his teammates embrace him. What a big hit that was on the Bulldogs captain. They're leading forward. Just got creamed.
Easy in past matches, as we take a look at the rake here again, Brett Finch over the top, there it is. Here's the tackle. Gee, I can tell you this, they've been guilty in the past, especially in the second half, of falling asleep at the Raiders. Oh, not a chance this time. They are wide awake for this second half. Hits like that will get them home, and this will be a resounding victory for them. This could very well turn their season around. They'll only be 4, maybe 5 to 7 points out of the top 8.
Came into this game 5 points adrift of the top 8, depending on other results. Could be as few as 3. It's only a game and a half in real terms. Very much alive in this competition after this performance. Wolfgram. Just outside their 20. Wiki. What a game he's had. You could say that about all of the Raiders. Inside. McClendon with the clearing kick from inside his own 40. Looking for the sideline. He finds it, a 40-20 from Mark McClendon.
Well, everything is going their way today, and they've totally deserved it. Their enthusiasm has been sensational out here tonight. The Bulldogs, I think they've been ambushed. I don't think they really expected the Raiders to be this aggressive at the football, in the tackles, and they've paid the price.
Been an outstanding performance by the Raiders so far in this match. Held their defensive line, have scored 4 tries, and I don't think the Raiders have finished just yet.
Here's Alan Tongue, a worker play off the base of the scrum. It comes back to Shafovsky. Brings a pass, it comes away to Nagus. Fends away from Glenn Hughes' tackle. It comes again, the ball comes loose. Raked out with their 2 in the tackle there.
Oh, come on.
Marco says there wasn't.
No, there was one in it. He stripped it out and knocked it forward. He stripped it out and knocked it forward. He's played the ball last. That's just... That's real.
The Raiders will still get the ball back because it was raked out, but of course knocked forwards by the Bulldogs forward. Completion rates tonight, 58%, down on their season average.
And the completion rate has been down, but the possession certainly hasn't gone their way either. This Bulldog side have missed plenty of tackles, and when they've had possession, they've coughed it over too cheaply. As we see a rare win against the feet.
Who'd have thought? Luke Patton, intercepted by Terry Martin. The Raiders have it. Here's McClendon going from dummy half.
Oh, you've heard of the purple.
Everything going for the green machine at the moment. Here's Finch. Turns it back for Wiki. He's just a couple of metres away. Wolfie spirals a pass to Finch. Short ball for Falmarina, who was set upon immediately. Tuck. Finch wrapping around the short side. Here's Porter. Tackle just inside the near touchline. Last tackle for them. Wolfgang gives it off to Shafovsky. Crossfield bomb coming through Manuel. Pushed Howland. Oaten didn't suit it. Won't matter. Now he does give the Bulldogs a penalty. Sorry. Got in there and just shoved Howland out of the way. His eagerness to get to the ball.
So it was a good kick, well positioned. It gave his chasers plenty of time to get there. But unfortunately, pushing the back, you can't tackle a man without the ball.
And tonight, Warren, we spoke about it earlier in the game, about their last tackle options were poor last week, but tonight they've certainly been better. The football has gone to the guys that can kick the football or create something on last tackle. Last week it didn't happen, but tonight they've been spot on in that area and they've put a lot of pressure on this Bulldogs outfit.
Here's Barry Ward, tackled by McClendon. His defence for 5'8". Nothing short of outstanding tonight. He's had those forwards running at him. Mason has tried his luck, so has Ward. Here goes Britt, looping a pass, the intended for Patton, intercepted by Falmarina.
Well, that'll come as no surprise. The Dogs have got to push the pass, there's no doubt about that. If the Raiders are aware and keep their mind and eyes open, they'll come up with a few more possessions because the Doggies do have to force the pass.
Here's Tongue. It's back from Wolford to Shafovsky. Of course, both these teams will get the weekend off next weekend as State of Origin 2 takes place just across the road here at Stadium Australia. And they come back from the break as Falmarina makes a break himself under the tackles, looking to score between the posts, and he does. It caps off a brilliant performance. What a game they've had. Who'd have thought they would score 30 points against the Bulldogs and keep them scoreless at the same time? It's mind-boggling.
And you've touched on it there, Warren. Mind games. Mentally, they haven't been right for this game. The Bulldogs, the Raiders have come out and ambushed them straight from the kick-off. Britt trying to force the pass. Falmer-Wiener started it and finished it. Great footwork. Just a tremendous talent. They get out of dummy half, Wolford again. This has been the story all night. Second phase play has just killed the Bulldogs. And Falmer-Wiener selling the dummy to Patton. Too much pace. Fantastic effort and a good win for the Raiders.
Yeah, big miss early on up front by two forwards. Here it comes, we get a view there. Two arm tackles, he just goes straight through. Patton takes the option of moving to the football, but it's a rule for all fullbacks. Take the man with the ball. Patton fell asleep there and just opened the door. And that is try number 5 for the Raiders. And what a night they've had. Won't they celebrate on the way back to the ACT?
We said earlier in the game that he only found the winner very much a David Violecki style of player, showing some Violecki strength and skills there.
He has got all the skills, Warren. A couple of years ago, they were looking to take him to America on a scholarship for basketball. Very good with the basketball in his hand, but he elected to play rugby league. That's what he loves. He's only had a couple of seasons.
The kick from right in front just adds insult to injury for the Bulldogs. 32 points to nil. We've got just on 5 minutes left. Comprehensive thrashing by the Raiders of the Bulldogs. They have had their chances, the home team. But this loss will really hurt. Game, I'm sure just about every Bulldog fan would have notched up for 2 points, considering both teams' recent form. All these doubts once again about the Bulldogs' claims of being a real title contender after a loss like this. Forward pack outplayed by an undermanned Canberra side. Ruben Wiki, perhaps his best game of the year, and I suppose you could say that about a number of his teammates. McClinton puts it off there to Darren Mapp. They got one more for us. Plenty of time for them here. Wiki. Darren Britt pushes up to make the tackle. Finch. Broderick looking for the sideline this time. Howland will go back. Almost lost it. Manuel was there as well to clean up. And he dropped it again. Here's Patton. Steve Reardon limps off. A bad night for injuries for both teams. The Raiders, remember, done this after they lost Michael Hodgson in the opening couple of minutes with a knee injury, and also Andrew McFadden. He left the field early on in the second half with what looked to be a broken arm.
Well, it's just been a mighty performance by the Raiders. They've just come out here and they've just totally dominated the Bulldogs. The Bulldogs are shell-shocked. They've had 32 points put on them. Other than the one opportunity in the first half, they haven't really looked like scoring. And to a man, they've been outplayed. And I'm sure the coaching staff for the Raiders would have been happy with that. They would have said to their players before the game, if you can beat your man, we're half a chance, or better than half a chance of winning this football game.
I'd love to know what they did at Bruce Stadium in Canberra during the week of training to turn around their effort of last week against the Warriors to this effort we've seen tonight. One of the complete performances we've seen from any team this year. They have just been outstanding in every facet of the game. They give the Bulldogs a chance here. Knocked on by El Masri. He might have been able to scamper to the line to finally break their duck. They are odds on now to finish this game as scoreless. Matt Elliott, he's working that gum overtime on the bench at the moment. What a win it's been for him. He will have the reins all to himself next year. He's been calling the shots in recent times, being eased into the role by Mal Meninga and the Canberra Raiders. Meninga will move on at the end of this season. It'll be a heartening victory for them. Probably a shame it didn't come in front of the home fans, who could have done with a bit of a heart warmer themselves.
Yeah, well, they would have been disappointed with their efforts and performances last week, the Raiders. It would have been a long week. They get an opportunity tonight to turn it around, and haven't they what?
Wiki. Just over 90 seconds left here. 42 points to nil as Wolford goes again. Shafosky. Kicked by Finch. Knocked down. Played at or off the hand at least of the Bulldog, and they come away with it now. Smith turns it back for old Masri. He's hardly had a chance tonight. Usually creates something. Nigel Vogler has been missing for almost the entire game himself for the Bulldogs with an ankle injury. Saw him on the bench with ice to an ankle, and Darren Smith has been forced to play inside old Masri all game. Here's Glenn Hughes putting down a ball this time. That sums up the Bulldogs' night almost in just that particular piece of play. So many times in the second half they've coughed it up. Completion rate remains a poor one in this game. Here's Tuck. Martin. Comes away to Falmoina once again. Won't go to ground. So they are just hanging on to him. If you look ahead past the State of Origin break next weekend, the Raiders will take on the Sharks in round 16, while the Bulldogs will face the Newcastle Knights up there at Marathon Stadium. And they will be breathing fire after going down on their home turf last night to the Roosters.
I think this competition has shown, Warren, you've got to be ready to play. And if you aren't, then sides will beat you. And this has been a comprehensive victory to the Raiders tonight.
The siren sounds and the boos ring out from the Bulldogs fans for their performance tonight. They've been beaten 32-0, if you don't mind, by the Canberra Raiders. An incredible performance. Winless in their last 5 games, the Raiders. They had just the 1 point to show from that after a draw against the Brisbane Broncos. They have broken that streak in emphatic fashion tonight. Let's go down to Russell Fairfax, who I'm sure has some very happy Raiders with him.
Yeah, thanks, Warren. Joining me, Raiders coach Matty Elliott. Matty, that's got to be the best performance of the Raiders since you've been in charge.
Well, Mel and I are in charge, and I thought it was, footy's about what you're thinking, and it was pretty evident this week that we were thinking a lot differently to where we were last Sunday. And with all the adversity the players have gone through with injury and I guess the position on the table we are, you've got to be really proud of them. Yeah,
I guess it was a terrific game plan. It worked a treat. You wanted to move their big men around. You wanted to play the game very quickly.
Yeah, game planning's easy. It's getting the players to follow it and believe in it, and this week we obviously pulled it off.
The defence of the side, simply outstanding. The Raiders hunted as a pack.
Yeah, that's the bit of the scoreline that I enjoy the most, the 0 bit. If you can keep that every week, you're a chance of winning, aren't you?
Your two halves, Finch and McClendon, performed this week. I think they should perform every week, but it's because they've got the talent.
There's no doubt about that, but we also need to have the people around them knowing exactly what to expect, and I think we're getting closer to that happening.
Your standout performer, or are they all good for you today?
When you lose as many quality players as we have, in a 2-week period, it's a real team effort, and to pick anyone out would be disrespectful to the other 16 guys who performed tonight.
Matty, congratulations. Enjoy the winners. I just step across to the skipper, Simon Wolford. Simon, you're in the battles there early in the game, but gee, an outstanding victory, and one you guys have really worked for. No wins in the last 5 weeks. It finally arrived.
No, we have. We've been pretty disappointed with what we've come up over the last 5 weeks. We've had some good performances and some bad ones, yet we've only got 1 point over the past 5 weeks, so we really needed a win tonight for our sake on the table and for our confidence, so we're really happy with it.
Getting on top of a tough pack like that is no mean feat. You guys clearly the dominant side.
Yeah, I know. How many times do you see it? A team loses a couple of key players, and the other guys that come in step up, and they knew, without Luke Tavico and Jason Croker there tonight, they knew they had to step up, and they did it.
Great win. Your hopes are still alive.
Yeah, they are. We're still a little bit of hope, and we'll keep working hard, and hopefully this will start some sort of role for us.
Thank you, Simon.
Thanks, mate.
Simon.
Channel 9:30 Wednesday.
Only Ford Explorer has Control Track, a system that senses any loss of traction
and automatically engages four-wheel drive. Ford Explorer, the intelligent four-wheel drive from $39,990 drive away.
Spin and win, spin and win, spin and win. Spin the money wheel at the Ansley Football Club. It's so easy, just play the pokies and spin and win. There's over 100 spins a week and winning is easy. So spin yourself some extra cash and win at the Ansley Football Club.
Being an employer sometimes means you just don't have enough time to screen your entry-level staff. Wouldn't you like someone to do it for you? Remember, Quest's new job network service can provide your entry-level staff free of charge. Call now.
One man has his beliefs. It's a global conspiracy. One woman has her doubts.
I'm already way past the point of common sense here.
Now they must come together before what they discover destroys everything we know. The X-Files.
System that senses any loss of traction and automatically engages four-wheel drive. Ford Explorer, the intelligent four-wheel drive from $39,990 drive away.
Australia's most senior World War I veteran has finally received the French Legion of Honour. 107-year-old John Lockett was honoured with France's highest award by the French ambassador in the veteran's hometown of Bendigo. The digger says he's thrilled with the award, but says it's more for his mates who didn't return home than himself. Prime Minister John Howard described the digger as Australia's latest living treasure. Meantime, in Melbourne, an emotional plea to thieves who stole a war widow's medals from his sick widow. 78-year-old Mary Bodell returned from hospital to find her flat plundered. Thieves broke in through a window, taking 2 irreplaceable medals. Cash and mementos were also stolen. She's praying the medals will be returned. It's the one aspect of ageing that many men fear most: baldness. Like it or loathe it, a cure could be on the way.
Here today, gone tomorrow. For centuries, men have been battling genetic baldness. Potions, creams and wigs, the common weapons in the war against marching hairlines.
Hair loss in men can be a source of ridicule, comment and humour.
But now baldies are having the last laugh with a little pill called finasteride. Its makers claim, taken daily, finasteride can revive failing follicles in 80% of balding men.
The tablet stops you making the hormones that are critical for the hair loss.
The drug in higher doses is already being used to treat prostate problems. Clinical trials suggest in around 60% of men, long-lost hair can grow back.
But you're not really going to notice substantial regrowth for at least a year.
Finasteride costs around $90 a month. The drug is for men only and can cause birth defects in boys if handled by pregnant women. Darren Roberts, 10 News.
The man hoping to construct the world's tallest building in Melbourne says he won't be deterred by opposition to his ambitious project. An independent panel has urged the state government to reject the 113-storey, $1.5 billion skyscraper. But developer Bruno Grollo remains hopeful heritage and local government fears can be allayed. A check of finance news now, and the Australian share market closed flat this afternoon after a quiet day of trade. The All Ordinaries remained unchanged from yesterday's close. Of our leading stocks, Telstra fell 4 cents, Woolworths 7, BHP, however, gained 3. Major banking stocks slipped again today. The ANZ fell 7, Westpac 5, the NAB dropped 16. On the cross rates, the Australian dollar lifted almost half a cent, fetching 62.92 US cents, 38.16 pence, 87.51 yen. Gold is trading for $295.30 US per ounce. In morning trade, London's FT100 share index is up 39 points. After a holiday yesterday, the Nikkei changed little, shedding 14 points. Hong Kong's Hang Seng gained 71 points. Witches, warlocks and druids will have to had their work and some magic if they want their pagan festival to go ahead. A Queensland mayor is doing everything in her power to stop it.
Joiner on Brisbane's Northern Outlet for Pagan 98 since January, but Yvonne Chapman says festival goers aren't welcome in her shire.
There's a lot of things that happen through this witchcraft and covens and occults that would make us feel concerned.
Her motion to ban the pagans was defeated in council overnight. Organisers of the festival say they're planning nothing sinister.
No, I've never sacrificed a virgin yet. No, we won't be doing any sacrifice. In fact, sacrifices of living beings, of anything at all, is very no-no. It's abhorrent.
While pagans believe the divine force is in nature and all of creation, they say most of us mere mortals get the wrong idea about their religion from sensationalist films like The Craft.
Now is the time, now is the hour. Ours is the magic, ours is the power.
Only good thing I can say about The Craft is that the White Witches won.
But with just over 2 weeks until Pagan 98, they're still to convince non-believers. The controversy is forcing the YMCA board to meet tomorrow night to consider the fate of the festival. Although the organisation espouses Christian values, a spokesperson says its mission statement also demands members respect the beliefs of others. Even if it goes ahead, Yvonne Chapman is claiming victory.
I dare say that the people from the Pagan Society would certainly after this be behaving themselves.
Kristen Devitt, 10 News.
Pocahontas came to Paris by train for the latest fashion shows. Supermodel Naomi Campbell led an entourage of models to the Christian Dior show at a Paris railway station. Historically inspired outfits featuring Elizabethan styles, designs raised a few eyebrows. Other designers took a more modern approach with Emmanuel Ungaro featuring a futuristic wired creation. Not for the faint-hearted. National weather is next after the break, then the day's sports news in Sports Tonight with Tim Webster.
Sandra, thank you. Coming up, the latest from the AFL Tribunal. We chat to Balmain coach Wayne Pearce, Steve Martin's no-show at South Selection, the Tour de France, of course, and meet the young man turning heads in the majestic sport of synchronised swimming.
A log fire always seems so cosy and intimate. This log fire really gives off some heat.
Well, that's because it's a log fire that's also a gas space heater.
Ah.
And when it's time for bed, you can just switch it off.
That has a certain charm.
For Canberra's best range of heat charm gas log fires, call into Burning Log Megastore, corner Wollongong and Maryborough Streets, Fishwick.
When a school was just a roof and a radio, we were there. When mothers missed their sons, we were there. When the first satellite passed over Alice, we were there. When times were good, when times were bad, when the rains came, and when they didn't, we were there. And we're there now with nearly 7,000 people on the road every day, upgrading and expanding our mobile, satellite and phone networks in rural Australia. And with over $1 billion already committed for this year, we're here for tomorrow as well. Then, now, always.
Making it easy for you.
All over Australia, people are rolling up their sleeves to help save the koala. These removable tattoos are great fun and on sale for the whole month of July. Koalas do need your help. Buy a removable tattoo and you'll help save them and their habitat. Remember,
No tree, no me.
So roll up those sleeves, Australia, and slap on a tat for the koalas. Their lives are in your hands. Grab yours during the whole month of July.
Time to check out the national weather, and the latest satellite photo shows a large cloud band and associated low pressure front over the Tasman Sea, extending across the northeast of New South Wales into Queensland, with southern Australia experiencing patchy cloud. Tomorrow the cold front continues to move east over the Tasman, while another front reaches the far south-east corner of the continent. A complex high pressure system will dominate much of the mainland. So looking ahead, fine conditions tomorrow in Cairns and Townsville, and Brisbane I should say, showers expected in Townsville rather. It will be fine and windy in Sydney, Melbourne, Hobart and Adelaide, while sunshine is on the way for Darwin, the Alice and Perth. That's our day this Tuesday, the 21st of July, 11:30 tomorrow morning. We'll see 10's next National Bulletin. Right now it's time for Sports Tonight with Tim Webster. I'm Sandra Sully from the Late News team. See you tomorrow.